What's up, folks? How's everyone doing today? Why am I so quiet today? I think Burt was on my desk because my volume knob changed.
He wasn't in there this morning.
Speaking of which, it's Burt's birthday today.
Everyone better say happy birthday to Burt.
Congrats for getting it right. May the 4th be with Burt. Amen. Smash the like button, share the live, do the things you need to do, ladies and gentlemen. We got Burt 7 years ago today. It's not his birthday, it's his adoption day, but it's his birthday. How do we already have people in the queue? Thank you. We'll put it towards Burt treats.
With your mustache fine, sweetest little shoulder cat of mine, door knocking, box loving, square finding friend. Our love for Burt will never.
I look like I'm about to announce the Hunger Games. Let's go. It's gonna be Muslims versus atheists and see who survives. What's up, folks? How is everyone doing today? Hope everyone's having a good day. Sorry we had a late live. I scheduled a haircut. We were planning to go a little bit later than the haircut, and then the guy was late for the haircut. Shit happens. But we're here. We're not queer. Get used to it. Smash the like button, share the live. Let's do a quick little prayer, then let's get into it. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for the blessings. Thank you for everything that you've given us. Walk with us. Be present with us. We ask that you do with this live as you will. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. God is good. I look like a kid. Good. Bro, I'm 35 years old. If you could say I look like a kid, I'm doing something right. Doing something right in this world. Anyways, yeah, smash the like button, share the live. We're going to be doing the same topics that we've been always doing. Try to convince me to stop worshiping my Lord and Savior. Cannot be done. Cannot be done. We need those 20,000 likes before we start taking guests. W. Child John. That's creepy. That's creepy. That's creepy. Abby.
Yes.
Why don't you open that shorts chat?
I will.
Get it
They're
done.
sending us out to the comment section, into the trenches with no protection.
Does my barber take cancellations?
Dies and chaos reigns. The shorts chat battlefield where nothing remains. We march into the spam and the bots. The brain rot takes
Amen.
everyone we've got. 15 seconds of absolute hell. This is where good soldiers fell. We're going to the shorts chat where souls go to die.
Shorts chat is the worst place on earth.
Send reinforcements, we won't make it back. Lost in the shorts chat. under attack. The comments move faster than we can read. Deleting nonsense, fighting the feed. First and ratio, echo in the void. Every brain cell systematically destroyed. We tried to bring order.
Yeah, no, Shorts chat is pretty awful most of the time. Most of the time, Shorts chat is just terrible. Are you ready for the drop? Here it comes. Yes, it does. Stop your studying. Don't worry about your future. The only thing that matters is this live right here, right now. Empty your bank accounts. Send it to me. Your cult leader. I gotta be careful. What happened? Thank you. Griftianity. Amen. Amen.
When we don't return.
Chat, remember the rules. No spamming, no caps, no blasphemy, no vulgarity. Who put in the no blasphemy rule? I don't remember putting that. Gabe's just like, I'm going to put it in there.
Gabe's calling the shots now. But to be fair, sometimes it's pretty mild.
One more notification, one more.
You didn't put the bar up.
This is where the moderators die.
Thank you. This is my favorite drop.
We went to the Shorts chat where souls go to die. Moderating madness, no one heard our cry. No reinforcements, we didn't make it back. Lost in the Shorts chat. Faded to black.
Am I a good boxer? Define good. Could I go pro? No. Could I probably beat you up? Yeah. So it's like, how do you define good? I also quit boxing though. That's why they're hung up on the wall.
We're souls go to die. Goodbye.
No. Boxing, it was, although when I was training everything, I was training boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and I was doing all of it. I think boxing was my best. Like, I think that was the one where I was most skilled in, where it's like, I didn't matter who I stood across from. I was confident that I could hold my own. If it was just strict boxing, as soon as we started adding in kicks, there's some guys I didn't want to mess with. And then once we started doing takedowns and wrestling, I was like, oh no, this is what a real fight feels like. My good. But boxing, I mean, I think even you have to give me the credit on that.
You're very good at boxing.
Yeah, I'm hard to hit.
Pow! He is hard to hit. It's annoying.
Yes. I wish I had time for Muay Thai. You have time. If you want it, you'd make it. You only need an hour a week. You can tell me you don't have an hour a week? Everybody wish Burt a happy birthday. Just got a fresh fade too. Should have had them take the sides down to the skin. I always go with the skin fade because my hair grows ridiculously fast. Like
really fast.
Yeah, it's we spend too much money on we spend more money getting me.
Spend more.
We should spend more. I let my hair go longer than it should. I was also just thinking, when I was driving home, we can consider it a tax write-off. No, we can. No, we can validate it because I'm a public figure. And that's something I learned when I did music. We learned that buying clothes and things for performing was considered tax write-offs, and that should all be put in your tax write-off scenario because you're doing it part of your show. I need to get a haircut to make sure I look good on live. We're going to throw it into our tax write-offs. We're going to write it off. But yeah, we spend more.
Receipt?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I had it emailed. That's not technically false. No, it's true. And anyways, we spend, because my hair grows so fast, we spend more on my hair than we do Abby's.
Yeah, I need to get my hair trimmed more frequently. Mm-hmm. But I might get a little bit more significant of a cut here soon.
Writing off a haircut is peak. Amen. We're also going to see how my back and legs do today because I got shoe insoles. So I got shoes on, mats, and then I'm standing. That should help with that. Same here, girl. Yeah, just like service members of the military can write them off too. Yeah, anything that you purchase that's used for the business can be a tax write-off. So I might force an audit. That's the thing. It's like, what? Why is he writing off a haircut? Especially since I didn't write off a haircut my last 2 years. And then be like, oh, okay, maybe we should audit this guy, which is fine. We have all our ducks in a row. I did my first TikTok live debate with atheists. It was a mess. I don't know how you do it. You make it look easy. Years of practice. And you probably did it on there. It's a lot harder to do it on somebody else's platform because they're going to overtalk you. They're going to push you. If you don't follow like their stupid little rules, they're going to kick you. They're not engaging in fairness, right? I watched somebody else's live the other day, some atheist live, and there was like 5 atheists and they were just steamrolling this Christian. And the Christian was like trying to answer these questions. And they're like, nope, you're not answering the way I like. And they were muting him. Nope, that's not the answer. They were basically asking loaded questions. And if you didn't answer the loaded questions the way they wanted, then they just muted them and kicked them and then made fun of them. It's bullying. That's all it is. Most of these so-called debate platforms is just bullying. It's just bringing up people to bully and make fun of. There's this one girl that keeps showing up on my feed now, that's all she does. She just like feels herself the whole time. That sounded wrong, but you know what I mean? She's like really into herself. It seems she's like performing and doing like these things and dressing up and then just makes fun of Christians. It's awful. It's like the debate. And I'm going to make a video on it tonight about my whole perspective of the debate scene. So I am back with more terrible arguments for God. And you're right. If you consider it a terrible argument, it's a terrible argument because an argument is only as good as the person who receives it finds it convincing. Burt,
It's your birthday.
it's your birthday. Come here.
People want to say
They want
to
to
see
say
you.
happy birthday. Everyone say happy birthday. Say happy birthday. Oh, you don't want that right now. You're being a good boy though. Mwah. Such a docile little critter. Such a little docile little critter, man. He'll let you do. And then he's annoyed. He just kind of lightly lets you know. He's just there. He's like, yeah, I don't want up. Yeah. And so he let me know. We put him down. All right, guys, we still need 20,000 likes before we start taking guests. So start smashing the like button, sharing live, doing the things that you need to do. Everybody who's watching on whatchamacallit, YT, make sure that dono bar goes up. We need it. We hit our goal last month, but we didn't make as much last month as we did the month before or the month before that. So last month was pretty low. Again, we hit our goal to keep the channel going, but not to grow it, unfortunately. This is dope. New house deal in the works. I will soon have my own studio to stream in. I feel like Funky, you're the type of guy who always needs the next thing to justify doing the thing. You need the house, you need the studio, you need the gear, and you can't do it until you have that. My friend, just start. Just start. I've listened to you debate. You could do it. You could do it. Just start. I started with just my cell phone. And then eventually I picked up a pair of $20 earplugs that I plugged into my cell phone and I could use the mic on it. That's where I started. And that's where I was like the most famous. I was getting 7,000 views at that time.
Different. Hello. You are good.
Oh, and look, our well-known lawyer here who does an excellent job being a lawyer as well and holds us down. Honestly, don't want to stream in my bedroom. Just put a sheet behind you. That's what Little John does. Also, I need everybody to commit to Little John being Little John. Do not allow him to move away from the name that the world has bestowed upon him, for it is his name. Everyone refers to him as Little John, except for his enemies, apparently. And he's like, I need to name my enemies. No, he's such a corny little dweeb. Love him, though. Love him, though. All right, guys, smash the like button. We're at 10,000 likes. We're halfway there. Little John was predestined to be Little John. Amen. Burt's mustache needs to be studied. I also agree with that. 100% needs to be studied. That needs to happen. Why would I want to win a Trump? What does that even mean? Dweeb is my favorite word. Really? I haven't used it in a long time. I think I'm going to start using it more. Do I support ICE? Yes. I'm not even American. I just think, yeah. They committed a crime. There are people out there making them pay for the crime they committed. I don't see why anybody. I honestly, I'm very confused why people are against it. I mean, sometimes they take it a little too far, right? And I think they could hold back, but that's just limiting their ability to do things rather than just eliminating them. This is specifically for Burt. You cannot touch this. All right, Abby, $5 towards Burt.
I was just gonna buy him treats that are $6, so that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. There you go.
He likes these little tube thingies we discovered. So.
Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. Am I an orthodox bro? I hope I don't fall into any category of bro. I really don't. Like, I really hope nobody throws me into the Phil bro category. I go up in when we do raids sometimes, I go up there and I'm like, hey, I throw out a little ontology. I'll throw a little epistemology. I throw a little bit of justification, and they go, we don't Phil bro here, bro. We don't Phil bro. I'm like, hey, don't throw me in that category. Don't call me a Phil bro. I don't know enough. I'm a dyslexia bro. Amen. Are you saying you're not our bro? I just hope I don't fall into that dipshit bro. There you go. I'm just saying I hope I don't fall into that category of.
Sorry.
We're a professional streaming service here, Mrs.
I thought
Steele.
I turned my volume down, but
We're
I guess
professional.
I hit the up button.
She just lost a week of vacation pay just because of that. No, like, are you Orthodox? I'm pro-Orthodox. Go check it out. It's the best. Phil bros are those that use the logic but can't explain it. Right. No, yeah. The Phil bros are the type of people who will learn what the philosophers say but never learn why they say it. It's the study of the logical systems but not the metaphysics behind it. That's what I find. We had that 20,000. We're at 20,000. Dang it. No, we're not. We're at 15,000. Oh, we are at 20,000. It's lying to me. Dang it. I don't want to take guests. They yell at me and they're mean to me and they make me feel bad things on the inside. But we did have people waiting since literally before we started the live. So we're gonna pull them in. Or did we? Oh, no, they're gone now. I guess they didn't want to wait that long. All right. Lies, you don't feel anything on the inside. I wish that was true. I'm a sensitive guy. Ask Abby. All I do is whine and complain and cry.
How's it going, man?
Good. How real quick, how old are you?
Over 18. I'm 23.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
No, but I wanted to ask you a question.
Are you Christian?
Yeah.
What did they say in the title? I love you, bro.
Hey, man, how are you?
Good, man. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 26.
All right, bro. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Yeah, I can.
All right,
So, I want you to write a book of philosophy, right? And your moral principles. I want you to bury it in your backyard. 1,000 years later, someone's going to dig it up and frame it as a religion. All right. Secondly, look at your wife behind you or your girlfriend behind you. The arguments, the fights, the validity, all the problems in the relationship, right? You could avoid all of that by just fucking a dude like me. Okay. Put it in my stinky. Yes.
You're hitting on him.
He's not wrong.
Put it in my stinky, Big John. Yes, sir. Come on, Johnny John.
I mean, he's not wrong. Like the first argument was terrible, but the second argument, imagine how many life's problems I could solve if I was gay.
Hey. Craig, man.
It's just chilling with the bro all day. And then that's it. That's all you got to deal with. I don't have to do none of this. I need a hug. None of that stuff. And life would be so much simpler. So much simpler. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. Ding dong fallacy and clown logo. We still got. I got to do that again today too. I got to try to find somebody to make me emojis because you can't see these damn emojis. So I got to figure it out. Does John care if people review his debates? No. Well, it's open source stuff, man. People do that all the time. Like, go ahead and review it. Normally when people make content about me, it's just to shit on me. So I've only seen one video made about me where somebody was actually like nice. I was like, wow, this is crazy. All right, guys, smash the like button, share the live. We did have people in the queue. Now we don't. I mean, do you even classify that second guy as a person? Do we classify the gays as people? I'm just. Jesus would spit on me? Wow. Wow. He's being homophobic, classic Christian now. I'm not scared. I'm not scared. You're scared. I'm not scared, okay? You're scared. Imagine. Ah, it's one of them, and then run away. They're just clumps of cells. Amen. Should abort them. He's out of pocket, but he's right. Calm down. My goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. I don't give a what you worship. Can I have a taco? Yeah, go ahead and go order one. I'm not paying for it, but you can have one. Nothing's stopping you. Freedom for taco. What's my point? My point in what? Right now I'm just chilling, waiting for somebody to come up and have a conversation with me. What should I do to talk to you? Click the link. The haircut explains the faith. If he had facts, it would be good. My haircut is great. You're all just jealous. And there it is. Something is children of God. Jesus would be disgusted by what you said. If God is real, you'll be punished for it. Probably. Yeah. Probably going to get punished by God. Sure. Yeah. Fair enough. Doesn't change anything I'm saying to be false or true or facts. Like, that's just a motivism. Mm-hmm. Did I get my protein in yet today? Yeah, I got 4 eggs. 4 eggs. Prove Mother Goose isn't real. I don't care if she is. If she is. Abby's giving me shit.
That's what I'm here for.
All right, let's bring in a guest. I mean, people can't take a joke, then they're going to double down. Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir. W haircut. Appreciate you. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 30. Pretty good. How you doing?
Good, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Probably not. I just had a question for you that I wanted to ask.
Are you Christian?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Are you here for the topic?
Yes. Yeah. I'd say it's related.
Okay, then what's your question?
What do you think about the state of Israel using Christians to...
How's that related to the topic?
Well, you're a Christian and you're being used, so...
Yeah, how's it related to the topic? Show me the relevance.
The relevance is most Zionists are Christian.
How is that relevant to the
Are you a
topic?
Zionist? You don't want to answer?
How's that relevant to the topic?
What do you... It's entirely relevant. How's it...
All right, just keep yapping, bro. All right. Goyim fallacy? What is a Goyim fallacy? Why don't you hate the Jews? I don't hate anybody. Listen, I stay out of the war topic, man. I don't know. There's too much going on. Way too much propaganda on both sides. Way too many crazy videos I've seen. I think it's bad, and you guys should just stop fighting. Kiss and make up, okay? That's my perspective. Kiss and make up. Mm-hmm. Saying I don't want to talk about a topic because I'm unfamiliar of it does not mean I'm scared of talking about the topic. That's called wisdom. Do you go around talking about things that you don't know anything about?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they do. That's literally what they do.
The problem in the world is that everyone talks about things they don't know.
That's true. Catholics don't even keep the 4th commandment. What's the 4th commandment? I don't even know my own commandments. Fourth commandment is remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy. What?
That's a weird one.
That is a weird one. Just Google your arguments like everyone else. Amen. Amen. Guys, smash the like button, share the live so we can get out to the people we need to get out to. Today's topic is convince me to stop worshiping Jesus when a taco. So far, it is yet to happen. We're undefeated on this specific topic. You don't worship Jesus, you worship Paul. No, I treat Paul as the leader Jesus assigned him to be. You call yourself a Christian? LMAOOOOOOO. Yes. Fake. It's a weird one. Your God created the commandments. Win a blue taco. John, brush your teeth before you talk about the prophet.
The commandment.
I just had coffee.
Weird.
I brushed my teeth this morning. Did I brush my teeth this morning?
The commandment isn't weird. The fact that they brought it up is weird.
I don't think I brushed my teeth this morning, which is really weird for me. I'm really on the ball with brushing my teeth, but it's because I was in a rush this morning. I don't think I did. So you're right. I actually apologize. I didn't brush my teeth this morning. That's a bad one. Usually I brush, floss, and mouthwash twice a day. No AMA today. No, don't admit that. What? You guys gonna tell me you never once in life just forget to do something that you normally do?
People can't forget things. We learned that.
This is guys. Okay, Abby.
Yeah.
You come here, read this person's name, and tell me if we should bring them on.
Good try.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Dude put his whole Tinder profile in there.
Right off the bat.
Who let the trolls out?
I haven't even done anything.
Who let the trolls out? Who let the trolls out?
I mean, I had one guy tell me that I should stick it in him, and then I made a little bit of fun of him, and now I'm not bad. Now I'm a bad guy, and then all the trolls came out. What is wrong with you guys? All right, let's try. Let's see if we get a good one. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm good. I'm 20.
I was not expecting that voice from a person with the name Mama.
Yeah.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Okay. Well, I want to know what you believe in. You know, you believe Jesus is the Son of God. Do you believe that he walked on water?
Come on, man.
Do you believe the Old Testament stuff too? Like, you know, Noah's Ark?
Do you have an argument?
Well, like, I want to argue against your beliefs, so I first want to know what you believe.
Okay, so give me the relevance.
The relevance is that my argument is going to be that those things are incredibly improbable of happening because of, you know, modern science and basically everything that humans know. And that, you know, based on probability, it's most likely that Jesus, you know, wasn't the Son of God, and that he didn't walk on water, and that, you know, there wasn't a flood over the entire earth. Like that's going to be the basis of my argument.
Each one of those things is going to have individual different probabilities to them. Which one do you want to focus on?
I'm going to start with the flood.
Okay, so I could just grant the flood as a parable according to Matthew Lynch. Now what?
Okay, so that one's not literal.
No, I'm just saying I could grant that as a parable according to the scholar Matthew Lynch. Now what?
Okay, well, how about walking on water?
Okay.
Is that a parable? Or is that one
no,
real?
I think Jesus literally walked on water.
Yeah, I mean, that's not possible. Humans are denser than water. Jesus wouldn't have enough buoyancy, he would sink.
Oh, you mean the person who claims to be God had an authority over the water, and because he had authority over the water, I don't believe when he claims to be God? That's your argument?
I'm saying there's a lot more evidence for like the laws of physics than there is evidence for God. I mean, if I had to pick
I don't deny the laws of physics.
Well, walking on water
it's just a really weird argument that you're saying I don't believe that Jesus is God when he claims to be God because he walked on water. Right? That doesn't make sense.
I'm claiming that that's not possible, right?
We'll make the argument that's not possible.
Because that violates the laws of physics, right?
Wait. Hold on. Are the laws of physics prescriptive or descriptive?
The laws of physics are descriptive.
Oh, how do you violate a description?
because as for something to be a law, it basically means that it's always true, right? Like it's not the suggestion.
Wait, that's not answering my question. My question is, how do you violate a description?
Like doing something that the description defines as can't happen. Like creating mass or creating energy or walking on water.
Descriptions are prescriptions, because you said a description says something can't happen. That's a prescription.
Yeah.
Are you conflating the two?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so is it a description or a prescription?
Right? No, it's a description, right?
Right.
It's still a description,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because a prescription would be like a commandment or something, right?
Yeah.
But if I describe something as impossible, right? I say it is impossible to do X, right? And then you do X,
Mm-hmm.
then that means that my description was wrong, right? You violated my description.
Yeah, your description would be wrong.
Yeah. So you think, according to that logic, you would think that, the laws of physics are wrong because, clearly they didn't apply to Jesus.
No, that doesn't mean the law of physics are wrong. How does that mean the laws of physics are wrong?
Because the law of physics describe that it's impossible for a human to walk on water, just due to, force imbalance and buoyancy.
Can you make the argument that it's impossible?
Yeah, it's impossible. It violates
You can't violate a description. So you said it's impossible. Can you make that argument? Because I don't know a single scientist anywhere in the world or in the universe that would say that a scientific claim or a claim in general is impossible. Because that's a huge commitment. That creates a huge burden of proof. So I'm just curious how you justify an impossibility.
Yeah, because it violates known laws.
Yeah, okay, so let me give you an example. When we put the James Hubble telescope up into space and we started looking back towards the center of the universe, everything that we saw destroyed our understanding of the laws of nature, of the laws of physics, because what we expected to see, doing to the red shift, line shift, or whatever it's called, we expected to see smaller galaxies going back. But what we actually found is bigger galaxies, to the point where scientists now have to go back to the drawing board and go, I don't know. Well, I don't know what's going on. They still haven't figured out why that's the case. But that destroyed our current understanding of physics. So do you just point at them and say, well, no, you went against my prescription of the laws of physics, so those are actually smaller galaxies?
No. Well, it's true that we can discover new information, right? Like,
great, yeah.
If we discover some sort of overwhelming amount of evidence, we can find that a law works in a different way than we thought it works, right? With the quantum mechanics.
Overwhelming. All we had is a picture. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, I mean that's more evidence we have for Jesus walking on water.
So
we have actual
picture?
scientific evidence.
So if I had
a
a picture of Jesus walking on water, you'd believe it?
A picture? How are you gonna have a picture of Jesus?
That's not the question I asked you. If I had a picture of Jesus walking on water, you'd believe it?
No, because
that's all we have. That's all we have with the James Webb telescope is a picture.
We have like actual measurements. I mean, like it's magicians can walk on water. It's not that difficult of a stunt to pull off.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to figure out where you're coming to your conclusions and how you're concluding things are impossible, because you're saying I can look back at the beginning of the universe and see that it defies all our understanding the laws of physics and the laws of nature, but I'm convinced that it defied it with a picture, but I wouldn't be convinced that Jesus defied it with a picture.
Okay, because these laws, right, of how the universe originated, these aren't things that we really understand that well, right? We probably only understand like 20% of physics.
Then how do you know it's impossible?
Because we understand Newtonian physics. We understand like basic high school level physics of if there's an imbalanced force, you're going to have acceleration, right? Newton's second law. I'm not. If it's between believing in, Jesus walked on water and believing in Newton's second law, something that we've
no one says that you have to deny the law. What are you talking about?
Okay, but they can't both be true,
so
right?
let me just ask you a question. If God, hold on, let's just walk through this. If God real, could God defy physics?
I mean, I think that would I think if God was real, then physics wouldn't be real.
Make the argument.
Because I mean, like if physics could be defied, then it's not. Physics are supposed to be the rules for how the universe operates.
Make the argument why physics wouldn't be real if God existed. Go ahead. We're all waiting patiently.
Because God does things that, violates the rules of physics. So,
well, you said they couldn't be real.
Yeah.
So how do you violate something that's not real?
Because, well, I mean, they're real because
your whole argument is if God real, all physics go out the window. We'd all just be like matter would explode in and out, and no planets would actually push together. And none of it would be true. Make that argument. This is the silliest argument I've heard
Well,
anybody
it
ever
wouldn't
make.
be, it
Come
wouldn't
on.
be physics. I mean, God could, you could say God is keeping the earth in order, right? But physics says that, these are rules of, how the universe functions. This
You're
is
not
what happens
answering the
when two
question.
mass.
You're not,
I'm trying to answer it right now.
No, you're not. You're
I'm trying
dodging
to
and
answer it right
running.
now.
How do you
I'm not.
conclude
Well,
that if God
give me
real, no
give me like a
physics?
solid minute, then. Give me like a
If
solid
God
minute to
real,
answer.
okay, but let's just be clear. I'll give you a minute, right? But the question you're answering, if God real, no physics, right? That's the
Yes.
argument that you're making.
Yes.
Make an argument, not a bunch of assertions. Go ahead.
Okay. The argument would be that I would define physics as rules to how the universe functions, right? Like descriptive rules of this is what happens when this happens, and then when this happens, right? This is what happens when you have a force on a mass, right? These are how physics works. If God exists and God can, just violate these rules anytime he wants, and suddenly, masses detract instead of, attracting, and suddenly force doesn't cause acceleration, then these rules are no longer valid because there's no longer descriptive of the universe, right? And if rules aren't descriptive of the universe, then they're not physics. They're just shit. You could just make up anything then. And, there would be no difference between a law of physics and just anything because laws of physics are no longer actually descriptive.
Okay, so that wasn't an argument, but I'm going to answer it
That
anyways.
was an argument.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. So
It
I'm
really
going to
was a
answer.
good
I'm going to
argument,
answer.
yeah.
I'm going to answer it anyways. If I program a gaming world, I'm programming it, and I put in gaming world, people walk on planet, stay glued to planet. Is that a law in the gaming world?
A law, yeah, like a protocol.
Okay,
Sure.
so in the gaming world, all the people walking on the planet, I put in the code, all people walk on planet, stay glued to planet. They can't leave. There's a gravity, so to speak. But then I put in another code. I say, this person, exception to code, can defy gravity. Does that mean that code no longer exists that keeps people on the planet?
No, those aren't laws of physics, though.
Answer the question,
right?
please.
Does that mean the code? No.
No, right. So the code doesn't change. The law still exists, right? So in this analogy, God creates the laws of physics, and then he just says, I don't have to follow them.
Yeah, but that's not how laws of physics work, right?
Oh my God, why not?
Because laws of... Okay, man. Like, laws of physics, right? They're not like, it's not like an option of whether you want to follow them or not, right? In order for something to be a law, it has to be...
Right, so in the game analogy, the people walking around in the gaming world have to follow the law because that's in the code, right?
Yeah.
So then why can't God say all you guys have to follow code, laws of physics, but this guy no have to?
Because a gaming world is it's not like analogous to the real world.
Why not?
Because it doesn't have physical features of like how things function, right? Like, sure,
God.
you can have things violate the laws of physics.
Just saying that's not analogous doesn't work, man. Answer the argument. Why can't God state
I'm trying
you're
to
not? You
explain why
literally
it's not
are not.
analogous.
You literally are not. And I'm about
Okay,
to move on.
I would if you gave me more than 5 seconds.
I
right?
give
How am
you. I
supposed
give
to
you
make an
more than
argument?
5 seconds,
Wait,
and you just make a whole bunch
no.
of. All right, then I appreciate your time. God bless. Have a great
Okay,
day.
yeah,
Thanks for the
give up, bro,
non-argument.
give up. Run away.
No one's running from you. You literally made the stupidest argument I've heard in a month. No one's running.
He was voted off the island anyway.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you? How old?
I'm 23. Hello.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Yeah. So just for like reference, you believe that Jesus is God, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Correct. Okay.
Abby,
So
sorry, just
Jesus-
one second. Would you be so kind and get me a coffee and creatine in it?
Yes, I would.
Go ahead.
Creatine in the coffee?
Yeah.
That's nasty as hell.
Creatine's got no flavor to it. You don't taste it.
Yeah, but just like the powder,
It dissolves. It dissolves because it's hot.
that's wrong. I'm sure Jesus said something against that, man. Come on. So Jesus / God, right? Same guy in this context, right?
Well,
Just
God
quick
is not a
question.
guy. God, like in when we're just talking about God, we're talking about in nature.
Okay. Yeah, semantics. You get what I'm saying? Entity, the same entity here.
Well,
So,
no, that's not semantics. Semantics is like how you define words, but we're talking about something like ontologically true.
yeah, it's just how you're interpreting the language, but you get what I'm saying, so it doesn't really matter.
No, I don't.
That's
I don't.
it's a
I
very
don't get what
silly
you're
thing to
saying.
get caught up on.
I don't get. I don't get what you're
anyways.
saying because God is not a guy.
You don't get what I'm saying because God. You don't get what I'm saying when I say God/Jesus, same guy. Because I said guy, you don't get what I'm saying.
God/Jesus, same guy is like an. What is the word I'm looking for? There's a specific word I'm looking for, but it just basically means that sentence doesn't make sense.
Extremely obtuse. That seems extremely obtuse.
It's not obtuse because God is not a guy. So when you say God/Jesus, same guy, you're implying
that's like just so unnecessary. I said God/. All
right. Do you have an actual argument, man? Like this is being ridiculous.
Yeah. Quick question. So,
thank you.
Would it be possible for Jesus/God, same entity? You're welcome. Would it be possible for them to?
Again, that doesn't make sense because Jesus is a person, not an entity. Well, I guess it depends on you define entity. So let me just tell you what it is, and then you can ask you can give your analogy.
Semantics. That's lawyer semantics.
It's not. Yeah. This is semantics. And semantics are important. Let me tell you the nature of God, and then you can bring up your contention with. No, all right. I appreciate your time. God bless.
But what a person.
Mikhail, hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yeah, no sugar, bro. Black coffee.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 23.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
I don't know. I don't know. But what is your position in terms of in Christianity? Like, which denomination are you a part of?
Can you give me the relevance?
It's so important in terms of your
you could say it's important, but give me the relevance to the topic. Why do you need to know my denomination?
Because it's important. It's your
You're just
faith.
telling me you need to know it because you need to know it. Can you give me the relevance towards the argument? Like, I'm happy to answer questions, but if it's in conjunction towards an argument.
Yes,
it's like if you're asking a clarifying question for a specific argument, then give me the relevance and I'll answer it.
Well, like I would like to know because then I would understand like your theological framework.
Which theological framework do you need to know to make your argument?
To which denomination you're a part of.
Which theological framework?
Yeah, like what kind of Christian are you?
All right, bro. Appreciate your time. Mm-hmm. Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm good. I'm strong, man. I'm 39.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I just want to ask you, you're a Trinitarian, I take it?
Mm-hmm.
You're a Trinitarian. Okay, so when did the Trinitarian doctrine become apparent?
So I can read the Trinity. Yeah, I can read the Trinity in Irenaeus, which would be 1st century.
1st century, okay.
Yeah, this would be around the same time period the Gospel of John was put out. If you're talking about like a direct, like this is the Trinity, sure. When I'd say the Trinity as in like the nature of God was revealed, we can go all the way back to Genesis.
Okay, so no, I'm talking apparent, right? So a layman, let's say a layman Jew. When was it apparent to a layman Jew, not a rabbinic scholar or anything like that?
Okay, if you want the answer to that question, if you're genuinely curious about that question, go read Alan Siegel, who is a Messianic Jew, on his understanding of Philo Alexandria, and you'd read the 2 powers in heaven motif. We don't know when it started, but we know that early Jews believed that there were 2 persons of Yahweh, right? There was a Yahweh that was in heaven, and there was a Yahweh that was on earth. These individual persons were the same God, but they were distinct. And then Philo of Alexandria, I'm not done. Philo of Alexandria specifically talks about 3 persons, right? So he mentions that there is God, there's the right hand of power, who is Ancient of Days, and then left hand of power, who's also Lord, and these three persons are God.
Yeah, I understand that. So Philo of Alexandria was a Jew.
Yep.
And he had a fringe view, I think before Jesus.
How do you know it's
about
fringe?
obviously the belief that my historical research shows me that it was a fringe view amongst
What historical research?
The Pharisees didn't follow him, did they?
Well, the Pharisees and Sadducees disagreed with each other. There were many different Jewish sects of groups that all had disagreements. So how do you know it's fringe?
So exactly. So you've just answered it within what you just said. So if there
then
were
they're
many
all
different,
fringe?
if there is not, so if what you're saying there isn't a mainstream view, then it's either going to be mainstream or fringe, right?
So were they all fringe then?
Were they all fringe? I don't know, but from my research and historicity,
I don't think you have research. Name a historian.
I will have to teacup you to find out. But anyway, my point is this. So you got to remember the Philo of Alexandria. Okay. So are you saying that he was preaching the Trinitarian view of the doctrine from the Old Testament?
What?
Was Philo of Alexandria, was he interpreting the Old Testament from a Trinitarian lens?
How would I know? I don't know his individual mental state, but everything that he speaks on seems to set the framework for individual persons that are God. Now, if you're talking about let me finish. If you're talking about the Trinitarian ideal, obviously that's not fully put on the table until we have a better understanding of philosophy, which doesn't come later. That's not an aha moment. It'd be very silly. It'd be very silly to say that the earliest possible Jews who had no understanding of the laws of logic could put a in-depth understanding of the ontology of the Trinity. That's silly to ask.
Brilliant, and you're only helping my argument here. So I understand the early church fathers. They interpreted Gospel and Old Testament using the Philo framework because they had that background which they grew up with, right? Okay, now we can move forward.
I don't know that. How do you know? I have no clue if they interpret it through Philo. How do you know that?
No, not through Philo. They interpreted it through Philo's framework. So John is
how do you know that they use Philo's framework?
Well, it would be under Philo's framework because because you got to remember that Philo had a belief
reasons. How do you know? How do you know that they didn't read the scripture themselves and then understand the Trinity?
Yeah, reason being is because this pre-Nicene and around 90% of the early church fathers had a subordination view of Jesus, where they saw Jesus.
That's strange because I've read all the church fathers pre-300, so I don't know how you come to that conclusion.
Oh, it's very evident in their works.
Well, like what?
I didn't say all of them. Most of them believed that Jesus was.
Can you give me an example? Can you give me a church father and what they said?
I don't have it all in front of me, but I'm pretty sure Justin Martyr. Then the earliest of church fathers.
Justin Martyr. When is Justin Martyr's writings? Justin Martyr's writings is roughly around 300, is it not?
Tertullian saw him as a lesser god.
Justin Martyr. He's 100 to 165. So I was wrong about that. So Justin Martyr. So your claim is Justin Martyr saw Jesus as a lesser god. That's your claim?
Yeah.
Okay, substantiate
Correct,
it.
yeah.
Substantiate your claim.
You want me to substantiate it?
Yeah, why should I believe you unless you substantiate it?
Okay, just give me about 10 seconds. Let me find it. First Apology 13:3.
I've read the first apology front to back. I never concluded that he thought of him as a lesser god. Are you doing something called quote mining?
You've clearly missed it. It's in black and white.
Oh, okay. We'll pull it up and we'll read the entire chapter just to make sure. Sound good?
Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, you're fine with that. All right. So let's open up our Kindle. Okay. Oh. I hate it when it does that. All right. Okay. Let's go library and then. Oh my God. Stop that. Okay.
Is that me?
No, that's me. All right. First apology. What chapter?
13:3.
Chapter. That was really loud. Okay. Chapter 13, serve God rationally. What sober-minded man then will not acknowledge that we are not atheists, worshiping as we do the maker of this universe and declaring as we have been taught, and that he has no need of streams of blood and libations and incense, whom we praise to the utmost of our power by the exercise of prayer and thanksgiving for all things wherewith we were supplied, as we have been taught that only the honor that is worthy of him is not consumed by fire, that he has brought into being for our sustenance, but used. Well, there you go. There's an important part, but used it for ourselves, those who need, and with gratitude to him, to offer thanks by invocations and hymns for our creation, and for all means of health, and for the various qualities of the different kinds of things, and for the changes of seasons, and to present before him petitions for our existence again, in incorruption through faith in him. Our teacher of these things is Jesus Christ, who also was born for this purpose and was crucified under Pontius Pilate, practicer of Judea in the times of Tiberius Caesar, and that we reasonably worship him. Oh, we worship him. Leaving learned that he is the Son of the true God himself, and holding him in the second place and the prophetic spirit in the third, we will prove for the proclaimed our madness and consistent in this, that we give to a crucified man a place second to the unchangeable and eternal God, the creator of all, for they do not discern the mystery that is herein, to which we make it plain to you. We pray to you, give heed. Okay. What's the argument?
Clear as day. You've asked me to substantiate the claim that Justin Martyr saw Jesus in second place.
That's not what you said. You said he was subservient.
Subservient? No, subordination. Second place. That's what
subservient. That's what subservient means.
No, that's subordination. No, I never used the word subservient.
Subordination is subservience.
That's fine if that's a synonym, but he's Justin Martyr and other church fathers see Jesus as in second place.
What does second place mean? Make the argument. You're just saying second place, so therefore he's subordinate. How do you come to that conclusion?
I came to that conclusion because Athanasius said that, hang on, if Jesus is a lower God and the Father is a greater God, that means you've got two gods. That's where they then decided to make the Trinitarian theology of co-equality to reconcile the monotheistic belief that they
wait.
had.
We're talking about Justin Martyr. How do you conclude that Justin Martyr thinks he's subservient here? All you have
he just says it that he sees him in second place. So if you've got
what does that mean?
Well, the other church fathers go on to say he's a lesser God.
Well, okay. Which church father? Because Justin Martyr doesn't say that.
Let me find it.
Justin Martyr, because again, to me, that just seems like it's talking about aseity. And aseity, that's what you would say. Athanasius. Oh, dang, I'm not recording. My bad. Oh, that reminds me, too. I have to delete that folder. Where is it? Oh, look at that. So much computer space on just one little click. That was great. All right, bro. Well, I'm still young.
Arius.
Arius was a heretic.
Yeah, you can say that, but he wasn't a heretic at the time because
He literally
even
was.
after-
Have you read
So that-
the Council of Nicaea was specifically for him? He called it because he wanted to go over his heresy. And the moment he gave his heresy, everybody rebuked him.
No, so you're missing a very important fact. So at the Council of Nicaea, at the Council of Nicaea, the bishops that agreed,
They agreed with him until he made his claim. And then all but 2 bishops disagreed with him. There's only 2 bishops that said, okay, we're on his side.
That's fine, but you need to let me land. So
no, I don't.
Yes.
This is a stupid argument. You're out.
Oh,
Just
like
making
once
things
again,
up.
he was voted off the island. You keep beating me to it.
James, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? James, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hello.
Hi, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 32.
All right, man, can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus? And just make sure I'm off in the background there.
Yeah, I turned you off. I just have, the idea. I love Jesus. Like, from what I've learned about Jesus, the guy's an awesome guy. But the thing that confuses me is that Jesus was never. I mean, you could argue he never truly experienced the human experience when he was reincarnated as Jesus, God. Anyway.
How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, because like you were saying, like the other speaker brought up, humans are bound by certain things, but when Jesus was human, he still had, the godly powers, and not only that, but he was brought into this world knowing that he was Jesus, and I mean, like knowing that he was God, and that if he died, that heaven existed and everything. But as normal human beings, we have to rely purely on faith.
I know heaven exists.
Sorry?
I know heaven exists, and that's kind of a silly argument too, because
hold
on, let me answer. Because again, if the Christian worldview is real, then Elijah, right, and also Enoch were taken up to heaven as humans in their earthly form. And if you hold it to the Catholic viewpoint, so is Mary, right? And so those would be 3 persons that know heaven exists and are still fully human.
But that's what I always thought was weird. Like, imagine if, because you know how the devil challenges God in the Bible and stuff. Like, what if the ultimate challenge for God from the devil would be to come back as God, to reincarnate, to come back as Jesus again, but with no knowledge of him being God and whether he would be truly a moral person. And if not, and if he was a sinner, would he accept the judgment to go to hell? Which is also why I don't believe heaven and hell can truly exist at the same time.
What's your argument? I don't understand what you're saying.
Like, God never truly understood what it was to be human. So him coming back as Jesus.
Make the argument.
By the fact that he knew that he was God. Like, he was told that he was the God. He was told by these angels. He had proof. But I'm saying ordinary Christians like you and me.
How does that mean?
Like,
how does that mean? Hold on. How does that mean that he wasn't fully human? Are there humans that have specific knowledge towards them that other humans don't have?
No, but like living a life as a human. So let's say if God was reincarnated again, do you think, and he did, and just like you and me,
Bro,
so God came back, but he had no memory.
I need an argument for it. You just keep saying
okay,
he is.
Okay, let me say this. Heaven can, I always thought hell could never really exist if heaven existed. Like that idea always bothered me.
I appreciate your time, man, but we're not getting anywhere.
Cheers, man. Sorry about that.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's being mean to my haircut, Abby. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Jay.
Oh, is it Jay?
No, it's a different J.
Oh.
Just the letter J.
Anyway, your haircut's very polarizing.
Let me guess. The people who like me like it. The people who hate me hate it.
Nope.
No?
Some people that like you hate it.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, screw them. Jay. Oh, Jay. Hello. Jay. Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Let me guess. The people who like me like it. The people who hate me. You got to turn me off in the background, bro.
Some people that like you hate it.
Oh. Screw them. Can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Yes, I am 21 years old.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Yeah. Yes, my argument is that Jesus basically is how could he be God if God is the all-knowing? How come Jesus did not know the hour?
He did.
That is my argument.
That's not an argument. That's a question.
Question.
Yeah, so the same thing in the Gospel of John, where he says that he knows all things that will happen to him in the hour that will happen to him. So therefore, he knows it.
But in the Gospel of Mark, he says no one knows the hour, but only the Father.
Yep.
So how can he not know the hour?
Therefore, he's using an idiom.
But it can't be, because the text is there. The Bible says clearly that Jesus does not know the hour. Only the Father knows the hour.
I tell you what.
So how come
I tell you what. You give me the definition of what an idiom is. I'll let you continue the argument. You don't. I'm going to move on because you're just answering a question you don't know the word to. What's the definition of an idiom?
It's like a meaning that is different from the actual word.
Sorry, say again.
It's like the meaning that it's not. It's not literal. It's not literal.
Yeah, it's not literal. I'll give you that. There's a good guess. You did well. So yeah, Jesus is using idiomatic language to explain a certain goal. I have several verses that say Jesus. Let me finish. I have several verses where Jesus says he knows all things, where people say he knows all things, where it says that he knows the hearts and minds of all people, or he could judge the hearts and minds of all people, where it says that he knows all things that will happen to him. So why are you picking this one specific verse out of the rest?
So now you are saying you're going to another verse. So that verse is contradicting this verse.
Why aren't you answering my question?
The actual text says that I am answering the question.
You're not answering my question. Did I ask if these two verses are a contradiction? What was the question I asked you? Let's try again. What was the question I asked you?
But you're not answering my question, though.
All right. God bless. Have a great day.
I'm saying.
Olive oil. Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hey there. I'm 20.
I actually think they might be right. I think they're right that it is baby. I have to go back. I think chat might be right. You see that?
Might be. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to call them for me and see if they can get me in? Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Do you actually want me to?
Yeah.
You're not gonna be able to get in today, though.
Well, I'll see if they can. I don't know.
You're working.
All right. Sorry, man. How old?
20.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if he's all powerful, right? Like that's kind of that's a general implication in belief.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be possible for
no, John, just tilt your head.
Would it be possible for God to create a rock too heavy for him to lift?
Bro, get out of here. It's not even worth the time.
How late are you going today?
Oh, I don't know. Can you call them and just ask them like, hey, I just was in there and came back and it's crooked. If they could fix
Hello,
it.
John.
Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
No, I just wanted to come on here and just let you know, just keep doing what you're doing, bro. Jesus loves you. I love you. That's all I wanted to say, man.
Thanks, bro. Hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I am well, and I am 47.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
I could try.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to try to convince you to stop worshiping Jesus. I guess my first question is, are you worshiping Jesus?
Yeah. Do you have an argument? I'm not going to play that kind of game.
No, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not playing a game. I'm being very sincere.
What is entailed? Okay, all right. If you're being sincere, what is entailed when I say convince me to stop worshiping Jesus? If the goal is to make me stop doing something, then that entails that I'm what?
That you're doing it.
Great. So what's the argument?
So I don't think that you are worshiping Jesus.
Yeah,
I
see,
don't
that's a
it
game.
at all.
That's the game. It wasn't sincere. It was a game. So I don't like the words you use, so therefore you're not following Jesus. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 38.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
No, I don't really know why I should, but I don't understand why you believe in such a thing.
Okay, well then I appreciate your time if you don't have an argument for the topic.
But why worship someone who cancer and stuff like that? I don't understand it.
I don't want to go to hell.
No, so it's only because of fear.
Sure.
It's not because of the joy.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, okay. No, I'm heathen, so yeah, we all have a good ending, either way.
No,
So,
well, not if Christianity is true. If Christianity is true and Jesus is who he says he is, those who reject him will not have a good ending.
Yeah, exactly. But that's with all the 5,000 religions, or how many there are. You have something like that. Yeah, okay. But you believe that it doesn't bother you that children are dying of cancer and stuff like that, and it was
it bothers me. But what's that have to do with anything?
It's because by your religion, it was God who chose it. It was his choice to put the apple in the Eden.
Okay. What does that change?
Change.
Hold on, let me ask you a question. If I stop, hold on. If Jesus is real and Jesus is God, and it's the God of the Bible, and I stop worshiping tomorrow because he created cancer, is that going to make the cancer go away?
No.
No. Okay. So, all right, hold on. I'm not done. It's not going to make the cancer go away. Is that going to prevent me from going to hell?
Yeah, if you believe it, no.
Right. Okay. So why would I stop worshiping him just because cancer exists?
I don't know. It's just I don't want to be by his side. It's just sinister. It's evil. It's
okay.
I just
great.
Can't comprehend
that's
it.
fine. That's fine. You don't like God. He's a big meanie in the sky. Now what?
No, it's not like that. It doesn't bother me. For me, it's just like Santa Claus. He's not real, you know. And
well, okay, they make the argument that he's not real
because of science.
Okay, because of science. How do we entail that God's not real because of science?
Yeah, no, it's just my belief. If you can't prove it, if you have no proof, why should I believe it? It's just like that.
Okay, I have no proof that God doesn't exist, so why should I believe it?
Yeah, exactly. But it's choice. Like I said, I don't want to say you should not believe. As long as
if you're not here for the topic, I appreciate your time then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That person doesn't have a mic connected. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
21.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
I don't know. Even if someone gave you like all the facts, I don't think.
Well, if you don't think, why are you up here? Why did you join? If you don't think I can be convinced, why did you come up?
But that was just a side note. But
well, answer the question. If you don't think I can be convinced, why did you come up?
Because I'm still give you something for me. I'm
still not answering the question. If you don't think I can be convinced, why did you come up? What's your goal?
Because you can still plant a seed in somebody without fully convincing them.
So then I can be convinced.
I can plant a seed. That doesn't.
So which would lead to eventually me being fully convinced, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I can be convinced.
In a way.
Okay, can I be convinced or can I not be convinced?
You can only convince yourself, bro.
All right, appreciate your time. My goodness gracious. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? They can't get me in today?
No.
Why not? They messed it up.
They don't have time.
Well, they shouldn't have messed it up. No, so I got to walk around with a crooked ass haircut until tomorrow.
It's also your responsibility to look in the mirror.
It's his job. I paid him to do it.
Yeah.
Go get me a hat. No, that's all I can see.
Do you want a hat?
Kind of. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Hello?
Hello.
All right, appreciate you. My goodness gracious. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 31. How are you?
I'm good, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus? There we go. Now we get rid of that crooked ass haircut. There we go.
Do you think that it's possible you could be convinced to stop worshiping Jesus?
Why'd you come up if you don't think I can?
Okay, just checking, man. Easy. So if you think it's possible, there's argument that could. Do you want to start with like kind of easy ones you've probably covered, like the problem of evil or hell as a punishment for life on earth or anything like that? Like where would you rather start?
It's your argument, man.
Okay, then I think it's a pretty good one. Do you think hell is a just punishment for actions here on earth? Do you think that, and my understanding is it's an infinity of, torture and pain and punishment for
hell's not a punishment. Hell's a place you go when you don't want to be with God.
Okay, and it's not a punishment then. It's just another place.
Well, it's going to be suffering, but it's not a punishment. It wasn't designed to punish you.
So there is suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Why does God allow hell to exist then?
Because you don't want to be with him.
Why would God allow me to make that decision?
You prefer that you don't have the decision?
I don't think the decision exists. I think it's kind of an odd thing.
It's eternal critique, right? Would you prefer a world where you don't get to make that decision?
I mean, if it were up to me, I would prefer a world where making that decision wasn't a fiery landscape of punishment and demons.
It's not a fiery landscape of punishment and demons. Did you get your theology from The Simpsons?
No, I mean, I know. I guess that's maybe more of a Dante's idea of it, but I think that's a pretty modern understanding of hell. Do you have a different understanding of hell?
I love Jesus in a major way. Big John.
Yeah, so hell is just being in the presence of God, but you reject him, so therefore you don't get to participate in his goodness.
And so what has convinced you that hell and heaven are real? That this is, because I heard you say earlier that...
Completely different argument. Are we doing God as evil, or are we doing God as real?
I mean, I'm just kind of moving on, because you've established that hell is just the place away from God. And then you said earlier that you don't... you believe in God out of fear of ending up in hell. That seems to be like your main motivating factor,
well,
right?
That's just rhetoric. No, that's not my main motivating factor. It's just rhetoric, because it's like, how do you argue against it? Because it's a silly thing to say.
My bad. I thought that's what you said earlier. That's all. You could explain it better.
It is what I say, but it's a silly thing to say. I don't like God, therefore I'm not going to follow him. Okay, congratulations.
No, I think a very small amount of atheists would say I don't like God, so I don't follow him. I think much more would say I haven't been sufficiently convinced that this is a real thing.
You'd think. And then until you ask them a question, if the Christian God was real and existed, would you follow and worship him?
So kind of the flip, if I was sufficiently convinced, would I follow God?
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so so you would follow the Christian God as he is without any sort of explanation, just like you just know he exists, hell exists, all these things exist, all your contentions with the problem of evil, all those are still true, but the Christian God is real. You'd follow and worship him?
It would be, I think the problem of evil would have to be answered.
Right. So you want God to explain himself.
As part of the evidence that God is real.
Right.
I mean, I guess
that's not evidence. That's God explaining himself. You've been convinced he's real. You want him to explain himself to you because you're God.
Okay. Yes. Then you're right. If God was real, but he, in my mind, was not a just and fair God and was an unethical person or deity, then no, I wouldn't worship him, even if it meant,
right,
going to hell or punishment or something. I would have to be convinced that God was real and that he was worth worshiping, obviously.
Well, there you go.
Well, that doesn't mean I don't worship him, because, I mean, I guess that's two reasons I don't worship him. But the first is that I don't believe that he's real. And then on top of that, that even as he's been presented, he doesn't seem worth worshiping to me.
Right. So again, the argument you brought up of hell isn't a proof of his existence. You just showed me your cards, right? What you actually don't like is who's his character. That's the reality.
I mean, I could hold both things at once. I can not be convinced that he's real.
Then why did you bring up? Then why did you bring up the issues of like his character first, rather than an argument for his existence?
Well, because we're more targeted on your prompt of me talking to you about your beliefs and whether or not your beliefs could be changed. We could switch to my beliefs if you want. That could be an interesting conversation too.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, it seems to me very silly to say, well, I'm not going to follow God because me no like him. Like, okay.
Why would that be silly? I mean, do you vote for politicians just because you believe they exist?
God's not a politician.
Right.
God is your God, whether you like it or not, right? You don't get to vote him in or vote him out. The only reason you get to make the decision is because he allowed it. What are you going to do? Like, if God's a big meanie in the sky, you're going to sit on the ground, wave your fist at him and go, I hate you. Well, congratulations. I'm going to spend eternity in heaven.
Sure. I mean, I think if God was the God as described and he was very vain and required a lot of worship and punished people for not.
You're gonna sure. Let's grant you he's the big meanie that you think he is.
Then I would say
hold on.
He's
a big meanie that you think he is. You're gonna sit on your moral high horse and say, I know better than you, the creator of the universe, you big jerk. Now I'm gonna go spend eternity in hell and suffering.
Right.
Yeah, that
I
doesn't
think I
make
can
sense to
think
me.
for myself enough to understand right from wrong. I don't think just because something's more powerful than me doesn't mean I have to follow what it says.
You don't have to follow, but the only reason you have the choice to not follow him is because he lets you.
I guess in the scenario that is described in a very old book that I don't find very convincing.
We can get into the nature of like whether he exists, but what I'm saying is God big meanie is a silly argument. All right, if you think he's mean, you're allowed to think that. Enjoy hell for the rest of eternity. I'm going to enjoy heaven.
Silly argument. Like, I'm not calling your arguments silly. Let's be a little more, come on.
Well, no, I think it is a silly argument. I'm not calling you silly or calling you stupid. I think the argument's a silly argument. You're going to spend an eternity in hell because you don't like a guy.
No, I first and foremost think that it's entirely made up and don't believe it.
Right, but that's not the argument you brought forward. You brought forward that God puts people in hell. That's the argument you brought forward.
You brought up, I talked about whether or not he was real or not, and then you said, "Oh, well, it's because you don't like him." And then we talked about the fact
do we need to rewind to the point where you brought up hell first?
You can let me talk.
No, I'm going to cut you off because you're lying. You brought up hell first. That is your argument that you brought up at the start, that God sends people to hell. Therefore, he's not worthy of worship.
I see what you're saying. That's a fair point. That is an argument about disliking and whether it's just or not whether it's real. Okay, fair point. I'll give you that. All right. Well, let's pick another thing. What about God's vanity? What about the fact that God requires worship?
There ain't no way that we just did this whole thing about, we just had a whole conversation about the fact that it's silly. I think it's silly to say I dislike God because of his character. And then you said, well, that's completely irrelevant. I'd rather focus on whether he exists. And then when you finally shift, hold on. But then when you finally want to shift the topic, you shift to he has vanity. Okay, same thing. God guy I know. God,
I don't like.
God guy I know. Like, congratulations, enjoy hell.
Okay, well, these are arguments that I can levy as a person trying to prove a negative or so. You know what I mean? Like, generally, this conversation is less prove to me that God doesn't exist and more prove to me that God does exist. But since you're on the, you're the YouTuber, you're on the screen, you're asking people to come and talk to you. I kind of have a high task of proving a negative. So I can try to point out some of the things that I think are silly about the way that God operates, and maybe that could lead to a discussion. But if you want me to prove God doesn't exist without any of these other things, it's impossible. I can't prove that there's not an invisible, unicorn right behind me right now. Like it's literally impossible. You know what I mean? So in order to try to prove a negative, I can try to point out some of the things I find inconsistent. You know what I mean?
Where's the inconsistency?
I guess inconsistent is not the right word. Point out some of the things that I find morally repugnant.
Okay. Yeah, you find it repugnant. Congratulations. Enjoy hell.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm guessing your answer is no, or you wouldn't, kind of set it up this way. But do you feel like maybe throwing out some of the reasons you do believe in Jesus, and then maybe I can respond to some of those? Because it's hard for me to just.
Yeah, so the reason I think a Christian is justified in believing in the existence of God and that God is Jesus Christ is because of the historical data and evidence towards the death and resurrection.
And by historical data, you mean like testimonies in the Bible, and who were the two guys that told Caesar? I'm blanking, but there's a couple of testimonies of the resurrection, right?
It's 21 testimonies towards the resurrection.
21. And so because of the testimony of 21 people 2,000 years ago, you want to build your whole worldview on those testimonies.
I think the testimonies are extremely good pieces of evidence because of the things like automatic congruence, because of undesigned coincidences, because of getting things correct, because of showing their genuineness while writing the scripture. The fact that they're writing in the form of sui biography. Testimony is a very important piece of evidence in almost every aspect of life, and that's the vast majority of ways that we come to truth conclusions. But that doesn't mean because testimony is true, you have to let me finish. It doesn't mean because testimony is true. If it's good testimony, then you have to ask the question, what's the best hypothesis that explains the data? I think the best hypothesis is that Jesus Christ resurrected. You don't want to have the testimony argument. It's not going to look good.
No, we could talk about the testimony. I think it's interesting that you bring up the testimony is something we use as like a very good source of truth when, I think in like a court of law, eyewitness testimony is one of the lowest.
It's the strongest.
Forms of,
it's the highest.
It's one of the lowest.
Want to bet?
People lie all the time.
You want to
bet? People testify to things that are untrue all the time. I would argue that
you want to make a wager?
On what?
That testimony is the strongest piece of evidence.
The testimony is the strongest piece of evidence.
Yep.
As like eyewitness testimony specifically, or like what kind of testimony?
Specifically eyewitness testimony.
I could be wrong, but there's also like expert witness testimony, which would be something different. They didn't witness it, but they're just talking about
expert witness what?
Expert witness testimony?
Testimony.
Right. So I'm trying to distinguish. Are you talking about just testimony in general, like people just saying things?
Testimony
or
is testimony is testimony.
Eyewitness testimony?
Testimony is testimony is testimony. Like I said, every testimony is going to have to be examined to see how good of a piece of a testimony it is, but it's still the strongest piece of evidence that you're going to be provided.
But you could see a world where like maybe I have 21 people that I could get together to testify that they saw.
Right. Which is why you have to examine the individual testimony. Again, what I said, remember my argument. I said, just because testimony does not equal true, you have to examine the testimony in itself and then give a hypothesis to what best explains the data.
Right. And in my summation, what best explains the data would be that people lied, because in this one instance,
evolution's not true because people lie.
Okay. That's let's use that analogy.
Yep.
How many people can testify that evolution is true versus how many people testify?
There's 53,000 peer-reviewed papers, but I can disregard it because people lie.
Well, you were just talking about the strength of testimony.
You just said I can disregard their testimony because people lie. So therefore, I can disregard the testimony of the 53,000 peer-reviewed papers because people lie.
No, because it's much harder for 53,000 people to lie than for 21 people to lie. Obviously, right?
Well, hold on. Either testimony is evidence or it's not evidence. You don't just get to pick and choose.
I didn't say it wasn't evidence. I said it was a weaker form of evidence, especially when it's only 21 people 2,000 years ago.
Can you give me a stronger piece of evidence without testimony?
A stronger piece of evidence for what?
Anything. Just give me a stronger piece of evidence that doesn't include testimony.
Sure. Like like scientific data.
Well, hold on,
like
you're using
repeatable
testimony right now.
experimental data.
You're using testimony right now.
How's okay? Then, I mean, I don't. I see that as different.
Wait, you're still using testimony.
Experimental data is that.
Wait, you're still
is that
giving me
considered
testimony, bro. You're giving me testimony. Can you give me
Why,
a piece
because
of?
I'm
Can you
saying
give me
it?
a strong piece of evidence that's not doesn't include the aspect of testimony?
Are you saying that anything I say here is considered testimony?
I'm trusting your testimony towards it. How would I know? Give me a piece of evidence that doesn't include testimony. Give me a stronger piece of evidence. Come on. You could turn your camera on. I'll allow it for you if you need a camera.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm on my phone. You just be looking at my chin. I don't think you want to see that.
Okay, so then
I feel like this doesn't feel super genuine. I don't know you very well, so I don't know if it's trying to be like a little rhetorical trap or if it's a genuine exploration of this idea of testimony.
Well, you keep insisting. You keep insisting testimony is a weak piece of evidence. It's not good evidence. It's not something that we can use to prove events in history. So, if you have stronger pieces of evidence than testimony, give it to me.
I guess I can't because whatever I say is testimony, right? Is that what you're getting at, or am I missing it?
You literally cannot have any other evidence without testimony. It doesn't exist.
Okay, well,
for any evidence to even be considered evidence needs testimony.
Sure, but I would like to circle back if you're interested in it. The kind of dichotomy of evolution is not true because it's testimony versus the testimony of these 21 people may not be true. So,
your only argument against the 21 is that the best hypothesis is people lie. So if I just take your argument and I just apply it to literally anything else, I could say I don't believe it because people lie.
Why would you apply my hypothesis in this one scenario to every scenario?
Because that's what's called a reductio. So what you do in a reductio is you provide an argument. You break down the argument to arithmetic. So it'd be like if A equals B and B equals C, then C equals A, right? So that'd be like a type of arithmetic. Now we apply that, and what we do. Hold on. That's like a type of arithmetic, right? That's not the arithmetic that you're doing. It'd take me a minute to do the exact arithmetic that you're doing. So what we do in a reductio is that we apply your conclusion. We say your conclusion is true, and then we work backwards to see if it holds up. Well, it doesn't hold up because if I change the equation halfway through from testimony of miracle to testimony of evolution, you say one works and one doesn't.
Right, because they're different testimony. I mean, that's like saying if you testify
special pleading.
I don't think that's an accurate reductio, because if you're saying like, a Lamborghini goes 180 miles per hour,
reductio.
That car goes 180 miles per hour. Therefore, all cars go 180 miles per hour. That's a reductio. That's not right.
That's not even remotely close to the analogy I gave.
How is that different from your analogy then?
So the analogy would be cars, right? Cars can go 180 miles an hour. If one car, right? This would be called an E statement. Mm-hmm. If there's at least one car that can go 180 miles an hour, then we have to take into account that this car could possibly go 180 miles an hour until we examine the data and have reason to conclude otherwise. So if testimony can prove yeah, I agree. If testimony can prove evolution, testimony can prove the resurrection.
But they're not both just cars. They're different types of testimony. One is repeatable evidence. Come on, man. Let's talk this out. It doesn't have to be heated. One is repeatable evidence. Will you grant me that there's a difference?
Is it true? Yeah, hold on. Just answer the question. Is it true that testimony can prove evolution?
Is it true that testimony could?
Mm-hmm.
Like if the testimony for Jesus looked more like.
No, I'm not asking about Jesus. Is it true that testimony is enough to convince you of evolution?
I think maybe I'm just struggling with what could we define testimony maybe, and I'm not trying to mince words or nitpick so that we can avoid mincing words. How would we define testimony?
Testimony is going to be the account of an individual towards a specific event or scenario.
I think that we can only know things either through our own personal observation or through the testimony of others.
So you're not answering the question. Is testimony enough to convince you of evolution?
Yeah, I would say, I think so. I'll change it later if I figure out a reason that I don't think that. But I think right now, yeah, I would say yeah.
So if testimony is enough to convince you of evolution, then you need to give me an argument why testimony is not enough to convince you of the resurrection.
Sure. So the difference between the type of testimony that I would believe for evolution is that it's widespread, repeatable, that when people look at evolution and
You
they
only
make
know it's
prediction,
repeatable because of the testimony.
right.
Okay.
That's why I just granted that, yes,
they say it's
testimony is
repeatable.
enough.
They say it's repeatable. That's all you got. You haven't repeated it. You said it's enough to be convinced on testimony. Give me the symmetry
'Cause
breaker
I can't
between
do all of
testimony.
evolutionary science myself, right?
I agree. So give me the test. Give me the argument on why testimony is sufficient for X, but not sufficient for Y.
Sure, because the amount of people who have testified to evolution and the way that they explain why they arrived to that belief in a way that I can go and look through and repeat myself.
That's a different question. You're examining how the testimony, if the testimony is good testimony, that's a different thing. I'm asking if testimony, I'm not saying it's good testimony. I'm asking if testimony alone is sufficient to prove a resurrection.
Is testimony alone sufficient to prove resurrection?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, if it was happening more frequently, or if there was some way to interface with it now. I don't think that the testimony of what's up, man? It's all right.
You just keep changing it, right? Right. I'm trying to break it down into arithmetic. Testimony is sufficient to convince you of X, which we would say is evolution.
A type of a level of believable testimony. Yes.
Well, now see, I ask you a question, then you change it. Testimony is sufficient to convince you of X.
Okay, easy, man. Because you asked me a question in a way that reduces it all the way down. So I'm saying
you could say no, you could say yes, you can get clarifying, but you have to actually answer the question. Is testimony sufficient enough to convince you of X?
Then yes, if the testimony is itself sufficiently believable. It's a different testimony.
So you're just saying, right? I'm convinced of things I'm convinced of. Congratulations. You just said if the testimony is believable, I'll believe it. Well, yeah, no shit.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? I know you're going to say it's circular logic, but you're asking me a question that begs a circular response because you're saying
it's good evidence if I'm convinced of it. Then you're the standard.
Correct.
Great. Congratulations. Okay, everybody, let's focus on
We're
JP.
all the standard.
JP is the standard we should all rely on for truth from now on.
Well, you're the standard of your own judgment, whether or not you believe testimony, right? That's not a wild idea.
But I'm just saying it's a silly argument because then I could just say, well, I'm convinced of the resurrection.
So you find issue with if I say that the testimony in one case I don't believe, but the testimony over here I do believe.
Well, I'm just going to use. I find the testimony for the resurrection convincing, so therefore I'm good, I'm solid, and I find the testimony for evolution non-convincing, so I disregard it. Because that is your standard. If I'm convinced of it, I'm convinced of it.
Right. That is how people operate. Yes.
Okay, great.
I don't see
anything further? You haven't convinced me to stop worshiping Jesus because your only argument is I'm convinced of it, so therefore it's true.
Right. So we'll get back to the testimony of the 21 people. I'm curious for you, what is it about that testimony that would make you believe it? And if you'll give me
it doesn't matter. I'm convinced of it.
Why would it not matter why you're convinced of it?
Because I just am. That's your standard that you provided. You said if it's convincing, it's sufficient. I find it convincing, so therefore it's sufficient.
There are reasons that I can articulate to why I find things more sufficient than others.
That was the standard you gave when I asked. You said, well, if it's convincing, therefore it's convincing.
Right. Because I can't tell you every single thing in the world that convinces me of one thing or another in a single response. Obviously, there's nuance to, obviously, this doesn't need to be like a one person wins, another person loses kind of debate. Like I'm genuinely trying to have a conversation about this. I find it very interesting, but obviously we can both agree that sometimes people say stuff and we think I believe that person, and sometimes people say stuff and we think I don't believe that person, right?
Okay, but I'm just saying your standard. I could do the same. I believe the testimony of the 21 eyewitnesses to the resurrection.
Right. I'm not saying that what I just said proves either one of our points. I'm not even proving a point yet. I'm
Okay.
just table stakes.
Okay,
We
so
can both
then we
agree
have
that
to
it's
go. Then we
normal
have to go
believe
back.
certain testimony and not others.
Right. So then we have to go back because I asked you if testimony is sufficient to convince you of X, why is it not sufficient to give you a Y? And your answer is because I'm convinced of it.
No, because the testimonies are different, and different testimonies are more or less believable than others.
I'm not asking if the testimony is different. Right. Okay. Let's change it so you understand. If good testimony is sufficient to convince you of X, which is evolution, is good testimony sufficient to convince you of Y, which is the resurrection?
Good testimony, yes.
Okay, so testimony is sufficient to convince you of a resurrection.
Right, because it's a historical event that I can't interface with or observe myself. Right, so I mean, there might be other like scientific ways to study the area that it happened in and find out certain truths about what happened there. But ultimately, I'm going to have to rely, in large part, on testimony of certain things.
Great. So that's
to believe something that happened thousands of years before I was alive. Right.
Took us a long time, but we're there. Right. So that is my perspective. I think the testimony is strong evidence, right? The best hypothesis of the testimony of the 21 witnesses to the death and resurrection is that he actually died and resurrected. There is no natural hypothesis that explains all the data.
All right. And so, well, there's one natural, which is that they lied, right? Like the two things could be they told the truth or they lied, right?
But if you're going to posit that, right, if that is your standard to reject it, they could have lied. Okay.
Right.
Great. Evolution, they could have lied, so I reject it.
Yeah, they could be lying about evolution, but I find it much harder to pull off that lie than the other lies. So maybe this is more constructive. I'm not trying to waste your time.
What I'm trying to say, you just saying they lied. You have to give like an explanation on why you conclude they're lying. You'd have to show me like a hypothesis that points to a lie rather than just saying they lied.
Sure, of course. And I'm not trying to say, hey, just because I said they lied means that I win the argument debate over. Okay. That's not where I'm trying to get to. Let's discuss, and I could go first if you want, but let's discuss. Obviously, you believe the testimony. You think it's true. I don't believe the testimony. I don't think it's true. So I can give why I don't think it's true, but I'm very curious why it is that you think the testimony is true. I'm confident that you've spent more time looking at that testimony to come to that conclusion, right?
Yeah. Things like automatic congruence, things like undesigned coincidences, the idea that we can put the authors in the time, space, and location, and we can see that they're trying to record honest and truthful information. Just so I don't have to go through a whole bunch of data right now for the sake of time, I'm just going to do an appeal.
Sure.
Almost every historian that looks at the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ will conclude that their followers genuinely believe that he rose from the dead. Why do they genuinely believe he rose from the dead? I think the best hypothesis is that he actually did it.
So the reason I would not believe is I think that people from 2,000 years ago believed a lot of stuff that we know to not be true right now. I think that
that's also not true when it comes to like miraculous things. I forget the name of the historian, starts with an S, but there's like one specific historian that always rejected miraculous events. This idea that people back then just believed in superstitious things just because is not true. They were vastly divided just like people are now. There were people who were hyper skeptical, didn't believe any sort of miraculous things. There were people who did believe in miraculous things. There's people who believed in flat earth, round earth. There's alien believers. They're just like today, right? Just this idea that back then people were convinced of things is not true.
Do you think that you think that people in the year 0 to 100 or whatever, you think that those people had less belief or equal belief or more belief in superstition than today?
Different people believe different things. That's my point.
You don't feel comfortable quantifying whether it's more or less than today?
Well, that's hard to say. Like we can't quantify something from the past. We don't have a testimony of everybody. But from the testimonies that we do have, we have historians that disregard every supernatural thing because supernatural things don't happen. Right? We have historians that take in supernatural things. If you're going to incorporate today, 80% of the world today believes in the supernatural. It's actually a minority that doesn't.
Huh. That seems high, but maybe. I don't know for sure. I would say that the main thing that makes it where I don't believe the testimony of 21 people from so long ago is that it's what they're up against. So there, it's that these 21 people with an account of an event that happened that they witnessed, and then against them is like the entire laws of physics and the real world and how things work in my entire life and in recorded history.
That's a bit of
pretty
begging the
much over the
question.
past 1,000 years,
that's
right?
that's a bit of begging the question. If God exists, could he defy the laws of physics?
Sure.
Okay, so then
But
you're
why would he have done it back then and then kind of
hold on?
stopped ever doing it again?
Wood doesn't examine the actual testimony of what they're doing, right? So if God could defy the laws of physics, right? Then when we find evidence of God defying the laws of physics, you just can't simply say, well, it didn't happen because you can't defy the laws of physics.
No, if God is real, then you certainly can defy the laws of physics.
Okay.
What I find odd is that he only did it for a very brief window in human history.
Doesn't matter if you find it odd.
You don't think that if I find that preposterous, that's not good reason to think, oh, maybe these people aren't telling the truth?
No, because it's armchair psychology. You're making a claim on how you think God ought to behave, and that's not actually dealing with the data.
I think maybe I can't convince you then, because I think it really comes down to this. This doesn't add up to me. That it seems too preposterous. I'm not saying, God should. I'm saying it seems unlikely that God would. And so unlikely that God would.
Based off what?
But it does seem likely that people of that time with different vested interests may lie about one event. That I find it, when I'm weighing the likelihood, I find it more likely that 21 people lied 2,000 years ago.
You're just saying it's likely based off
God
what?
Exists in this way where he does this very peculiar thing, even though he's like an omnipotent and all-powerful person. I find that harder.
Okay, but I could just take your same argument and apply it to evolution, right? I think it's more likely that people are just making shit up than that we can actually have a change in species, that I have an ancestor with a banana, right? I can make it sound grandiose and crazy and then just disregard it because it sounds grandiose and crazy. Oh, sorry. Hold on. I didn't hear what you said because I accidentally muted you because my wrist hit the enter button.
Oh, you're fine.
So, yeah.
I think that would be fine to do. What is it that you find so crazy about us sharing an ancestor with a banana that you think is, comparable to how crazy it would be to have this deity as old as the universe and with all the power?
Yeah, I think it's the same
miracles during this short window.
Yeah, I think I didn't say he only could perform miracles in that short window, and that's not even.
No, he only did. Is my understanding.
That's not even the claim that he only did it to then. But Christians say that miracles happen all the time. You guys just say it's all made up. But anyways,
because there's a way to show that things happen. Like we have ways of understanding the world that are
we have
rigorous,
videos
right?
of people getting out of wheelchairs after being prayed for and being in wheelchairs their whole life. But we just say that could have happened naturalistically. We have recordings of people who have lost their voice and were told they'll never get it back. And as soon as they started praying, their voice came back. We have peer-reviewed documentation of people losing their intestines, being prayed over and having their intestines come back. We have peer-reviewed documentation of people having multiple sclerosis, being bedridden their whole life, hearing the word of the Lord and then hopping out of bed and being able to walk. And every time that happens, people just say, well, there must be some unknown natural explanation that we just don't know yet.
My guess is that they say that because it's not repeatable, that it's not very rigorous.
Right, so
you can't be,
why would you expect to be able to repeat miracles?
I don't know. Like, when my little brother got cancer, like we prayed for him, but he still got cancer. Like, what about the time that people pray and then nothing happens?
Okay, but what about the time people prayed and something happened?
Sure. I find it hard to understand that would happen. If you have like good peer review about these things, like, do you have a place somebody could go to look through that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can look at Marlene Kleeps and Bruce Van Natta.
Marlene, let me go get a pen. Marlene what?
Kleeps and Bruce Van Natta. I didn't like the hat because the hair was sticking out the side of the hat. And it looked worse, so I noticed it more. You can read Craig Keener's miracle books. Like it goes over 100 years of miracles that are documented. But anyways, the point I'm trying to say is that you guys disregard all miracle accounts, and then when a miracle account happens,
I think he went to get a pen.
No, I did. I wrote it down.
You're
You're good.
still there. Okay.
yeah, so you disregard all miracle accounts, and then when miracle accounts happen, you disregard it because you don't have any miracle accounts to quantify it. So you have this self-fulfilling argument. If you disregard all miracle accounts, you're never going to have a miracle account to back up the other miracle account.
Right. I also find it interesting that the modern miracle accounts are usually like the ones you describe, where like a person is in a wheelchair and then they can walk again, or they're sick and then the sickness goes away. Which the miracles that you see in the Bible are often far more grandiose. It's like a resurrection event, or like a splitting of seas, or like these like big, very like visible, observable miracles that everyone can see.
The only people
like,
who saw the splitting of the
individual.
sea were the Israelites.
Right. And how many of them were there?
Less than 100,000, and they all lived within their own tribe.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of people compared to the number of people that.
Okay, so then how do you yeah, great. Then how do you explain Fatima, where there's literally hundreds of people that witnessed the sun move around the sky after seeing the apparition of Mary, including news reporters?
I've never heard of this. What's this?
Fatima.
Fatima, like Fatima, like the name.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened?
Yeah, so there is three children witnessed the apparition of Mary, and Mary said to them that gather everybody around this time. We're going to move the sun around the sky, and so they gathered all the people around this time, including news reporters. There are hundreds of people there, and they witnessed the sun dance around the sky, and it's all documented. There's more documentation for that than the death and resurrection of
They have
Jesus
this
Christ.
like on video and stuff.
No, this is before video.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't know.
this
Maybe I'm more
whole
pessimistic
town made it
about
up. The whole town
how
made it
often
up.
people lie, but
The whole town got together and said, "Let's trick people."
I could see it. I could see it.
Great. So then I don't believe in evolution because all the scientists got together and said, "Let's just trick people."
Right, but I know you're not going to like this. I'm sorry. There is a difference between the way that evolution is explained. It makes predictions that come true. The people
How do I
can't
know?
say.
How do I know it came true?
Because it's documented. Because they say, "Oh,
Based off
we
other
should
people's
find-
testimony,
we
that's all
should-"
just part of their lie.
Right, but you can go interface with this data. You can
I've
also,
never done
we
it.
see-
People tell me I can. How do I do it? How do I go confirm evolution by myself?
You could study virology. You can see evolution amongst bacterium, like in a single lifetime. Like you could see this.
Yeah, even Christians don't deny that. I'm talking about speciation, where our common
About
ancestor is a
speciation?
banana.
I mean, I don't know. I guess that one's harder to get into. I'm not really an expert in evolution, so I don't think I could
but
get
I'm
into the different things. I could go back and do some research. We could come back later and I could show you some.
Well, no,
things that I think
you're
make
going to
it
give
more
me
rigorous.
you're going to give me the testimony of their research. They're making it up. They're all just lying because they want to trick us, because they don't want us to believe that the world is flat, and they don't want us to believe in God, so they made up evolution. That's what I'm saying. That's like for every
Do you
piece
think
of
that the world is flat?
No, I don't. But I'm just using I'm using a reductio to say, like, if all you're going to do is every time we bring testimony, even though you agree that testimony is sufficient to be convinced of something, if every time I bring testimony of something, you just say, well, they could be lying, great. Oh, I could do that. I could do that in every case, right? I could go to court for schmurder and just say, hey, the guy there who's testifying that is my fingerprints on the knife is just lying.
Oh, okay. Well, see, that's a good example, because the fingerprints would match or they wouldn't. That would be like
But
verifiable.
I need their
evidence.
testimony
It
to tell
would-
me it matches.
I don't think so.
How
I think
would
you could
I
just
do it?
get fingerprinted, and people could just see that the fingerprints match. I don't know that you need testimony for that.
You can specifically count all the lines, and you're an expert in that. You know it. You could do it. We could bring in a random person off the street to confirm it.
I'm not an expert in fingerprints, but my understanding is that, yeah, it's pretty easy. You can just look and see if
So let's get rid of experts in court systems. We're just going to bring in random people to confirm the evidence. We'll do that for blood. We'll do that for DNA. We'll do that for any case, really, autopsies. We'll just bring in random people because the evidence speaks for itself.
I think that would be logistically impossible to do, but I think could it technically?
Well, why not?
Could
we do
people
it.
Spend
we
5
do it.
years studying how to do
we
whatever.
do it. We need to study.
Right.
Okay, so
you
then we
to
need an
know
expert
how blood
testimony.
works. If
so
you
we
don't
need-
know what
right.
blood types are, then you can't, have anything to say about blood types. But I
Right.
think most people
So
with enough
I need to
time
rely
and
on
study could
testimony.
figure it out.
Yeah, so then I need to
Huh?
rely on testimony because I'm not going to study every possible thing that possibly exists to conclude things, right?
Right. That's why out of pragmatism, you would rely on testimony. Correct.
Okay, so testimony is the strongest piece of evidence that we have. And all you do anytime we bring up testimony sufficient, you just say they could be lying. So I could do that with literally everything.
I'm not granting that it's the strongest piece. I think it might be the most pragmatic piece of
Then
evidence that we have.
provide me a stronger piece of evidence than testimony.
I would say like the fingerprint. Like if you took a
you're giving me
fingerprint
testimony.
and you matched it to another fingerprint
You're
and
giving
you
me
looked at it with
testimony.
your own eyes. I'm saying that you yourself see something for yourself without anyone else telling you.
You're
You could
still
come to your
giving
own
me
conclusion.
testimony. Provide it to me. Show it to me.
Man, are you doing the anything I say is testimony thing?
It literally
One
is.
of
That's
the
what I'm
lawyers in
trying
our
to say.
chat says you need testimony. The fingerprints you're examining are the persons in question. Like you need
Right.
it
So
for everything.
I wake up and I see two fingerprints in front of me. What do I conclude? I see fingerprint here, fingerprint there. Like I just show up in this courtroom and there's a fingerprint here, fingerprint there, and I see that they match. Now what?
I mean, you would have to know more about the case, yes.
Which I would get through.
I mean, you could learn everything about the case on your own in a universe with infinite time and resources. Yeah, like that's a thing.
Do you
are you
think-
saying that there's?
do you think
it
it's
kind of sounds like
possible-
you're saying that there's no other evidence besides testimony.
No,
That
I'm saying
testimony
it's
is
the
only
strongest. There's the strongest piece of evidence is testimony, and there's corroborating evidence that goes with that. Do you think a court system can actually get through its case without any testimony? Do you think it's possible to come to any conclusions in a court system without testimony?
No, that's why I granted that it's the most pragmatic form of evidence, but
Great.
not the
So,
strongest.
hold on. So we can't get through a single court system without testimony. Can we get through a single court system without any of the other pieces of evidence?
I'm not sure, but just because it's the most widely used doesn't mean it's the strongest.
The answer is yes.
The most
right?
widely.
Hold on. You don't. Not sure. I'll answer. The answer is yes. Almost every court system, the vast majority of court problems are solved through testimony alone. Vast majority. So if court systems can be solved with testimony alone, but we can't even use the other pieces of evidence by themselves to prove it, how are the other pieces of evidence stronger than testimony?
Just because it's the most widely used doesn't mean it's the strongest, right?
Make
We
the
agree on
argument.
that.
Nope. Make the argument.
Okay. The most widely used car is not the fastest car.
How's that analogous?
Because there can be something that's the strongest, but not as widely available or widely used. Those aren't the same thing. Just because you use it more, like there's a difference between
So
which one
you're
is
saying
used more often and which
you're
one is
saying that
strongest.
other. Oh, great. So you're saying that other evidence
So
can be
like if I
stronger
had a
than
video
testimony.
of somebody doing something and I watched it, I would find that stronger than if somebody told me they saw it. But we don't always have a video of somebody doing something in a court case. Whereas more often we might have somebody who says they saw it.
How do you know the
So-
testimony? How do you know that the video case is not documented or doctored?
Okay, I'm because of the metadata within the thing. I don't know. I'm not a forensics expert.
Oh, great. So you
We
need a
might be getting
forensic
a little
expert to come in and
sidetracked
give you testimony for it, right?
Yes, and there are sure, man, sure.
Sure. Okay. So great. Can you give an argument how any other piece of evidence is stronger than testimony outside of it just can be?
I kind of think we're getting sidetracked, but
It's not sidetrack, right? The whole point of this is I say I have excellent
Then
testimony.
tie this
Let me
back
explain
to
how it's
the-
not.
yeah.
Let me explain how it's not sidetracked. My whole argument is I have excellent testimony for things like Fatima, things like the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, right? You said
Mhm.
testimony is sufficient to be convinced of X event, but then when I ask you why you're not convinced of this specific event, you say because they lie. Because people can lie.
Right.
That's your whole argument. Your argument, for all intents and purposes, is not.
no, because you like if we can go back to the court thing. When I'm in court and somebody says that person murdered somebody,
murder.
they're not saying. Sorry, rob that person, whatever. Let's say that person robbed that person and they're in court. They're not saying that person robbed that person, and what we know about how the entire universe works in every other instance all the time says that you can't possibly rob someone, but he did do it. That's a much higher bar than any other type of testimony.
I'm not
You're
even
telling
arguing
me,
if it's a higher bar. I'm not even making any of those claims. I'm just asking if testimony is sufficient enough to be convinced of these things.
right?
You say
in
no.
this case,
Based off
right,
what?
because the people that saw the sun move differently are saying, I know that everyone on the whole planet, since the planet began, every single time they've looked at the sun, it moves in the
Right,
same
so
way.
now we're going
but
full
we saw
circle.
it
Now
move a
we're going
different way.
full circle. If God exists, could he do those things?
Sure, if he exists, but
Okay, so
I think he doesn't, because I don't
awesome.
find that convincing.
Awesome. Okay, so then you have a presupposition and a dogmatic viewpoint. You don't think God exists, so therefore any evidence that would show that God exists can't be true because it goes against your understanding of naturalism. That's a dogma.
No.
Yes.
I didn't say I don't think God can exist. I said I don't think God does exist.
That's not what I said. The dogma here is that you don't think God exists. So therefore, any evidence that you have that shows towards God, you disregard because it goes against your understanding of naturalism. That's literally what you said. You said the sun can't dance around in the sky because it goes against your understanding of naturalism. So therefore, you disregard all their testimony, even though testimony is sufficient to convince you of crazy things like your cousin's a banana.
That's not crazy. That's very understandable.
I think that's wild to think that my cousin is a banana.
Your cousin is not a banana. Your cousin shares an ancestor with a banana. Right. Like evolution doesn't say your cousin is a banana. No one says that, right?
Do me and a banana share a common ancestor?
Correct. Yes,
then me
for
and my
sure.
banana are cousins.
Great
distant cousins.
I don't think that's
100
how
billion
we
times
use the word
removed,
cousin.
but it's still my cousin.
I don't think that's how we use the word cousin. I mean, you can use it that way.
What do you think a cousin is? A cousin is a cousin is a person. We have like grandparents, right? So we share similar grandparents. That makes us cousins. Me and a banana, do we share similar grandparents?
Like great times 10 to the 20 or something. Yeah.
Okay, so then we're cousins.
Sure. I mean, semantics, but I think people would only refer to the people in your family tree that are people, like persons, as cousins.
To the truest form of the sense, to the truest way that words work and the science works, a banana is my cousin. Now, I'm not even saying that's not true. I'm agnostic towards evolution, but I'm just saying you believe in wild and crazy things through testimony. You're picking and choosing.
That's not crazy to me that my cousin would be a banana using your definition of cousin. That's not wild to me.
I'm moving on. Bro literally just said that his cousin's a banana, and that's not a wild thought. I gotta use the bathroom. Hold on.
Can you put some music on too?
What do you want?
He was also on for over half an hour, like 40 minutes. So it's not like you didn't get a good chance.
You say Big John's a narcissist. His loves is of the sound of his own voice.
You guys really liked him.
Ego-driven, all about himself.
I have bananas in the kitchen. I guess we're relatives.
You say run from real discussion. Blocks whoever challenges his position. You say he's not a Christian, just a show. All surface level, no depth below.
There's barely anything there, but when there is something there, you guys will be impressed.
He's way more handsome than you.
It's gonna be
that may be true, but he's still way more handsome.
Looks exactly like it looks. You're right. It's gonna be
You
that.
say he's actually really stupid,
which also
can't
looks
defend
like
his points when he's pursued
looks
with
like
it.
a thing.
You say he cherry picks and twists the word, only cares about the views he's earned. You say
I'm showing off the negative space that's gonna be full.
behind his comment section won't ever face someone who can actually throw down just a pretty face with a hollow sound.
He turned it really loud in my ears. How long will it take? Depends on how often I work on it. Probably a couple months. I can't hear you. The song is yelling in my ears.
Okay, but why are you yelling?
Because it's yelling in my ears.
Yeah, but it's in your ear.
But I
so,
can't tell that I'm yelling.
But you don't need to yell because it's not in the room.
I'm projecting, but I can't tell that I'm talking loud. I can't tell.
All right, that
because it's so
dono
loud.
bar is looking pretty empty, ladies and gentlemen, for what I've had to deal with today. That guy was a nice guy. But I was getting frustrated because it's just maddeningly inconsistent.
Well, you also went in circles like 3 times.
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting for.
John is trash. Amen. The haircut, I was just looking in the washroom. It looks good. It's just this is here, and it's not even.
I kind of feel like you could just.
This part here is actually in line.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I feel
look,
like you could
look.
just.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's just, yeah. You feel like I could do that? I could do a fade? No, I'm not doing that.
Okay.
No, I'm way too scared. If you think you can do it, go for it. You want to cut my hair and just line it up?
Me?
Yeah.
I would love to learn how to cut your hair so I can just do it here for free.
That's
but
all. That's all it was. That's
it's
the only
risky.
thing. That's the only thing you got wrong is he just this side.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
And this side, it's more than a little. But that's all I can see with my OCD.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, let's bring in the next guest. You cut your own hair all the time? Just go bald? I did bald. It's not a good look for me.
No, it's not good.
Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 33.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Maybe. I mean, Jesus was a Jew, right?
That's correct.
Jews didn't believe in human sacrifice. They also didn't believe Jesus was divine. So, and neither would have Jesus. So Jesus didn't believe himself as being divine, and the whole Trinity was all made up later by Christianity. So,
wait.
Going off Jesus' actual teachings, he wouldn't have been divine. So why worship someone who's not divine?
So just to be clear, your argument is that Jews believed something, therefore Jesus believed it?
Yeah, Jesus was a Jew.
Right. Okay. So if I say a Christian, do all Christians believe the exact same things?
No, but the primary law in this is still there.
Do
I mean, there's different denominations,
all
they're different
Muslims
sects.
do all Muslims believe the exact same things?
Because they have different variations of the book.
Okay.
But
Did
if-
all
if
Jews
Jesus
believe
was going
exact
off the
same
actual
things?
Torah, then he would have been believing what the Torah said.
Hold on.
The
You
Torah
just
said there would be sacrifice.
why stop running? Why did all Jews believe the exact same things?
Of course not. There's different interpretations.
Oh. Okay, so then make the argument.
The argument is there's no way to misinterpret the fact that Jesus says that the Torah or the law, he calls it the law, will be forever basically until earth and heaven pass. But yet Paul completely goes against that and takes out Jewish
That's
law.
completely different than what you were talking about. You're talking about sacrifice. So you're all over the
I know,
place. Which
that's my
topic
point.
which
The
topic
fact
do you
is-
want to focus on?
It's the same topic.
It's not the same topic.
And what Jesus
Each
did.
individual case requires its own different argument. Which one are you focusing on?
So what topics am I bringing up that you're saying are different?
Man. All right, appreciate you. If you don't have an argument, thanks for your time.
I do have an argument.
Then
but I
what-
can't
okay,
just
all right,
have
let's
an
try
argument if you tell me
let's try
what-
again. Let's try again. All right, I'll give you a shot. Let's see if you have an actual argument. All right.
Jesus.
Hold on. All right. I'm
to be
ready.
divine and never come to be God.
I'm ready. Give your argument.
Dude, I love this, man. I love that you're typing this out. I've never followed you before or talked, so I think it's great that you're doing this. God never claimed to be divine. I mean, not God. Jesus never claimed to be divine and God. Never
Jesus
claimed to be anything more than the Jewish
never
Messiah.
Claimed to be divine. Okay. That's a conclusion if it's just by itself. Hello? Hello? You
That's
there?
my point.
I
Yeah,
didn't hear
can
a
you hear
word.
me?
I didn't hear a word you said. No.
Oh, I apologize. Internet might have been
Okay,
going
so
out. I said
so right now we have one premise. By itself, it's just a conclusion. It's not an argument.
right. So the Jews again believing, and that wasn't just the Jews; it was the Ebionites as well who believed in the actual teachings of Jesus.
Believed what?
The Ebionites. Sorry, I lost my train of thought when I got to the Ebon. You don't even have to get to the second point.
Can you show me a
The first
single?
point being
Yeah.
Jesus
Hold on.
never-
Hold on. You brought up Ebionites. Can you give me a single Ebionite document?
No, they all died out in the 5th century.
Oh, you have no documents by them. Okay, great. Okay, so the Jews believed.
I mean, I'm sure there are documents, but I don't have any documents. I'm going to look them up. But anyway, Jesus never claimed to be divine. You worship Jesus because he's divine.
Can't hear you. You're cutting out. Yeah, you're cutting out. Jesus never claimed to be divine. What? So you're still cutting out. You got to get close to your Wi-Fi, bro.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Jesus never claimed to be divine.
I apologize. You have to let me go.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Jesus never claimed to be divine.
Sorry, I just keep going out of connection. I might have to join this conversation later, man. Can you hear me? Can you hear anything I'm saying?
Yeah, I could. Appreciate you. Francesco, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I am 21. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Well, I have a few questions.
Are the questions relevant?
Yeah, well,
okay. Give me the relevancy of the questions first.
Okay. What do you mean the relevance?
Well, if you have a few questions towards the argument, then you should provide me the argument and then why the questions are important towards that argument.
How do you deal with the problem of evil? Like
I don't. Okay, next question.
Like, how do you explain that evil happens? Like
it just does.
God is all powerful and all good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Then why does earthquakes happen and cancer in child?
Well, okay, what makes them evil if there is no God?
No, it doesn't. But if there is God,
so then how can you use, if by your definition it's not evil, then how can you use it as a measuring tool against God?
Well, but for you guys Christians, it does. It is evil.
Oh, okay.
It's
Show me from the eternal Christian worldview that God allowing these things to happen is evil. Go ahead.
Sure, you can say that, but it's common sense that
it's common sense. It's not
bad.
So it's common. Your argument is it's common sense. All right, gotcha. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Satan. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you? You got to turn me off in the background.
I'm 25 years old.
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you? You got to turn me off in the background. Okay, so you're 25? All right. Rav, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Rav. I can hear you clicking away.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you?
21.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Yeah, I mean, we can try and have a discussion on it.
Okay, go ahead.
So just to clarify, you're a Christian, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'd bring up John 17:3. I think it was the verse where Jesus describes the Father as the only true God. And you also have many passages throughout the New Testament where, he worships the Father. He says, "My God and your God." So I'd say you're better off worshiping the God of Jesus and worshiping the God that he worshipped instead of actually worshiping Jesus.
That's a conclusion.
Pardon?
That's a conclusion.
Yeah, well, I made an argument and then I made a conclusion. My argument was that Jesus calls another deity the only true God, therefore you can't worship him.
How do you know it's another deity and not the same deity?
because he's speaking to the Father. Read the verse. John
Yeah,
17:3.
yeah. How do you know that they don't share the same deity?
That they don't share the same deity? What do you mean? Are you referring to...
How do you know they don't share the same deity?
You mean they don't... Your question is wrong. You're asking, do they share the same nature? Is that what you're trying to ask? Because the Father doesn't share deity with anyone. He is the only true God.
So again, how do you know that they don't share the same nature, the same deity?
Okay, whether they share the same nature or not is relevant, because Jesus explicitly says that he is the only true God. That is a statement that negates anyone else other than the Father.
It doesn't actually. I'll show you how it doesn't.
Okay.
All right. So here, if we break it down into that statement into arithmetic, right, it would state only the Father is true God. The only way that it would exclude Jesus, for it says, for anything Y, if Y is true God, then Y is identical to the Father, right? That's the only way that it would give a statement where it excluded Jesus. So I need you to give an argument how that would mean that Jesus is not included in the same nature and the same deity. So if we take this, break it down to arithmetic, it's all X, right? And for all X and for at least one X, if and only if X, KG, right? Which would be for every person, that person has eternal life, if and only if they know the Father is true God, they know Jesus, and the Father sent Jesus. That's how you'd break it down into arithmetic. It does not exclude Jesus from true deity. It just says that the Father is true deity.
That's just sophistry. If
It's
you
not
read the verse,
sophistry, it's logic.
None of this is biblical. You can't.
It's not sophistry, it's logic.
Into practical terms, Jesus says it very plainly that the Father is the only true God. Okay, so do you believe that?
Hold on. No, you're going on. Sorry. Stop talking, please. I gave an argument, and the only response. I gave an argument.
It's sophistry. It's semantics. This is what you Christians.
Okay, now you're muted. All right. So I gave an argument. I gave a reason, right, why we would say that doesn't exclude Jesus from being true God. Your response was, that's sophistry and nuh-uh. This is not sophistry. This is propositional logic. This is how we make conclusions. So I'm going to bring you back in, and I'm going to allow you to make your argument. Go ahead.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, but make an argument, please.
Okay. So can you break this down for me? How does it follow? So your rebuttal is that Jesus is actually included in that only true God statement?
Yeah,
the Father is the only true God?
In the language, it says that the Father is only true God, but Jesus also is only true God by being in the nature that is God. It does not exclude Jesus.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
The only way that it would exclude Jesus is if there were two gods, right? That would be the way it exclude Jesus. But because there is only one God, which is what Christians believe, it doesn't exclude Jesus because he is part of that, or not part. He is that same nature. So again, for it to exclude Jesus, it'd have to say, for anything Y, if Y is true of God, then Y is identical to the Father. That would exclude Jesus, but it doesn't.
Got you. Okay, so to summarize or to dumb it down, basically you're saying they share the same nature. Therefore, Jesus is also the only true God. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, but Jesus is not speaking about natures here. He's actually pointing to the person of the Father. I understand that you believe that the Spirit, the Son,
so
and the Father.
Hold on. I agree with you. I want to ask you. I'm going to get you to clarify. Hold on. I agree with you. I want you to clarify something. Jesus is not talking about the ontology of God in John 17. What is the context of John 17?
What is the context? Are you going to let me make my argument, my rebuttal? You can't interfere and then ask another question. That's not how it works. I let you speak. You muted me actually, and you went on a tangent.
So what is the context of John 17?
Are you going to let me make my argument?
What is the context of John 17? We both agree. Now let's find common ground. What is the context of John 17? It's not talking about the ontology of God.
You don't agree with me because
we both agree.
You didn't let me make my argument.
I'm showing you how we both agree. We're finding common ground. You made a statement that John 17 is not talking about the nature of God. Did you or did you not say that?
You didn't let me make my statement.
Did you or did you not say that? Did you or did you not say that?
Are you going to let me speak?
Did you or did you not say that?
Did I not say what?
That John 17 is not talking about God's nature. That's not the purpose of John 17.
Yeah, it's not speaking about natures, it's speaking about
Great.
persons.
I agree with you. What is the context of John 17?
What's the context? I haven't read it. So
Appreciate you.
What was your
Wow. Imagine reading context. Imagine.
I haven't read it, but I know it disproves your belief.
I only read the part I wanted to read.
Caleb, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Abby, you're trapped, by the way. It's quite obvious you don't want to be in a relationship with me.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. If he doesn't connect, you should read Super Chats. I keep forgetting.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think he's going to connect.
Okay.
All right. Arguing that humans can't walk on water to disprove that God walked on water. Facepalm. I agree. Dad was mean, therefore he doesn't exist fallacy. I also agree. Yo, fresh cut. For the most part, it looks good. It's just uneven. I really like the haircut, but that's driving me nuts. And the fact that I can't get in till tomorrow is going to drive me. And the fact that I now have to take more time off work to go in and get it fixed also drives me.
Yeah.
Can one be submissive without being subordinate? Jesus' submission was a voluntary alignment of will, love, not inherent inferiority. Do you agree? Well, again, it depends on the context of where you're using subordinate, right? God bless. God bless you too. Thank you. Also, guys, at Dono Bar, half full. We got to get cracking if you want to keep this live going. Oh, he came back. No, you don't get to do that. Once you're gone, you're gone. Ben H. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm doing well. I'm 25, and thank you for being willing to speak with me.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus? See what I mean? It sticks out just that one little corner.
That one's better though.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll see. My first question is, because we can agree that as part of believing in Jesus, we're going to believe we have to agree with the documents, the Bible, and the church. Are we just doing the Bible, or how do you believe? What things do you?
All the questions that you're asking me, you don't have to hold to either position to worship Jesus, right? So if I held to the church fathers and I took them as authoritative, right, and you debunked the church fathers, then I would just no longer hold to the church fathers as authoritative, and I'd still keep worshiping Jesus.
Okay, fine. But then my question then would be, how do we know if Jesus did exist, if the things that were said to he had done actually occurred, just based on, so we're talking about a book, the Bible obviously has been a book that's existed for millennia through countless translations.
Hold on. I just want to say something real quick. Guys, we all agree the barber messed up. It's uneven. You've said it a million times. Now, anybody who brings up my haircut or the barber, you get muted for the rest of the live. Mods, you're on it. All right. So, what's your question?
So more or less, my question is, how do we know that Jesus was even a person, or did the things that were said that he had done? How can we worship a person that we don't know actually did exist, or did do the things that he said that he did? How do we know they actually, or that he was something else that got lost in translation millennia ago?
The historic reportage model. We look at the historical data and the testimony on that, and we have to put hypotheses down to what it best explains the data. What the hypothesis I think best explains the data is that they were honest and truthful people trying to record honest and truthful information. And then when recording honest and truthful information, they say that Jesus Christ died and resurrected. I think the best explanation is that he actually died and resurrected.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. I'm not really an atheist. I more so was just trying to play devil's advocate. I didn't really.
You have to. Then you. Devil advocate are my least favorite people in the world. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dave, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How old are you?
I'm 26.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
Okay, I'll give my 3 conclusions or premises, and you can tell me what do you want to talk about first. 1, you've heard it before. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. 2, I would say claims that have meaning or impact on meaningful. I would say like on how you perceive the world, or change your morality or anything like that require another sense of scrutiny. And 3 is more of a question, so I can get to that at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
those are
your first 2 are just tautologies. It's the same thing. Can you define an extraordinary evidence for me?
There's no. It's not a definition. It's a matter of degree, I would say. So it's evidence, but to a higher degree of believability. So
yeah, that you're just kind of saying extraordinary, right? It's the same thing. So what is an example of extraordinary evidence?
What is an example?
Mm-hmm.
I would say that like in this situation, or to another example of like,
add this to the barber trip. I'll mute in the chat. Well, because you sent $10, we're not going to mute you. Thank you. All right. So again, what is an example of an extraordinary piece of evidence?
Modern day, I would say video accounts.
Video is extraordinary.
It's better than just one.
I didn't
person
ask if it
saying
was
something.
better. I asked if it was extraordinary.
Well, I would say thousands of accounts of something.
Okay. What about 999?
Again, it's subjective, I guess.
Okay. So then what exactly is extraordinary evidence? You're demanding something that I don't even know what it is.
Okay, well, obviously it matters on like degree, right? So something can be more extraordinary than the other, right? So I can't give you a set definition of what is more. It's like asking.
Okay, so why should I provide you something that you don't even know what it is? You're demanding I give you extraordinary evidence for this thing, and you don't even know what extraordinary evidence is. So you're demanding I give you something that doesn't exist.
Well, it's more of being able to prove something without a shadow of a doubt, right? Now, whether or not something is without a shadow of a doubt is up to subjective. You can't tell me like I have to give you the example.
That's a subjective mental state, right?
Exactly. So I can't give you a metric for which you should define it. That's how the courts can't tell you what is subjectively without a shadow of a doubt, right? So I can't tell you a metric to tell you what is, right?
Okay, so yeah, you can't tell me the metric to convince you. Then what are you doing here? So
what I can do is tell you that what you base Jesus off of is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, correct? And
yeah, well, I say Acts as well, right? If I say there's enough, I say there's enough data in the four Gospels and the Epistle of Acts to be convinced of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ.
Okay, and well, for one, for my first premise of extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, do you think that claims that are
right, well, why are we going back to that? We both disagreed that's a non sequitur. It doesn't mean anything.
Well, let me ask a question about that. Yeah. So you agree that something that is, I would say, or we would both agree, unbelievable, right? Because miracles technically have to be some kind of extraordinary act, right? So do you agree that you would need more evidence to prove than like one person's account?
Yeah, so we're going to need more evidence to be convinced of things that we're not normally convinced of. So for example, right, if you tell me you have a dog, I'm probably just going to believe you.
I agree.
But if you tell me you have an elephant, I'm probably not going to believe you. I'm going to ask for some evidence. But the thing is, the evidence that you provide me to convince you of your dog or your elephant is going to be the same.
Not necessarily. Let me say this, right? Let's say we hear all the time with actors and actresses being like disrespectful behind the scenes, right? And you might hear like 3 accounts of that, and that might get you to believe, right? Now, if you were to hear something like your mom, right, was to be disrespectful, and you know your mom, and it's going to take more than 3 accounts to make you believe that your mom was disrespectful, right?
Okay, so let's do this because I don't know where you're going. Let's say I have a PT Cruiser in my driveway, not a fancy car, 1990 PT Cruiser.
Okay.
And you want proof that I purchased it. I actually bought it. What would I give you?
Pictures, videos, you driving it.
I'm probably just going to give you a bill of sale, right?
Sure. I
Yeah,
probably
so-
believe you telling me you have a PT Cruiser. Yeah.
PT Cruiser didn't exist in 1996 then, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so I have a PT Cruiser. You want evidence that I have a PT Cruiser, even though it's like not an uncommon thing to have. I'm going to give you a bill of sale, right? Now I have a supercar, a 1 out of 10 supercar in my driveway worth $3 million. How would I prove to you that I had purchased it?
You could say a bill of sale.
Yeah, I give you a bill. I give you a bill of sale. Now, a PT Cruiser is not extraordinary. A supercar is extraordinary.
Wow.
You're not gonna. It's not part of the ordinary day of life to see your neighbor with a supercar.
Mhm.
But it's going to be the same piece of evidence that I provide to convince you of one and the other.
But this goes into my second point of claims that necessarily like that have meaningful impact on the person themselves require extra bit of scrutiny. Sorry, excuse me. So like whether Napoleon was short or just a kid, right?
That's completely irrelevant to what I'm saying. I'm saying it's going to be
Yeah.
the same piece of evidence. Now, whether you're individually convinced of it doesn't matter, right? If I tell you I have a PT Cruiser, you might just accept it. You might just say, yeah, I accept you have a PT Cruiser. If I tell you I have a supercar, you're probably not just going to accept it considering you know what I do for a living. I argue with people on the internet. Like, that's not a good enough method to make it a supercar. So you're going to ask for evidence because you're not convinced of it. But if you weren't convinced of the PT Cruiser and you asked for evidence, it's going to be the same evidence.
Okay, let me give you the exact same scenario then. Let's say you drive, right? And you show me a video of you driving a car, right? Now, if you were to tell me you can fly and you show me a picture of you flying or a video of you flying, you wouldn't necessarily believe it just off that video, right?
Yeah, I might not be believing it. Sure. But that's
Exactly,
again,
so-
that goes back to your individual mental state. What I'm talking about here is evidence. Whether evidence is
I'm
considered
talking about
evidence.
the same evidence too. Yeah, so there's two pieces of evidence, right? One is a video, and the other one's also a video, right? One is of you driving, and one is of you flying, right?
Mhm.
Both evidences, one evidence can prove or make me believe that you can drive if you show me a video of you driving.
You're
But if you
missing
show me a
the
video
point
you
of the
flying-
analogy. I'm not asking whether or not you're convinced of it because I could show you a bill of sale on my supercar and you could be like, I'm still not convinced because you know what I
Sure.
do for a living. But what I'm
Sure.
saying is evidence is going to be evidence is going to be evidence. There's no such thing as extraordinary evidence. It doesn't exist.
But okay, what do you mean it doesn't exist? Evidence exists, right?
Evidence exists. Extraordinary
Extraordinary-
evidence doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. It's something that people just made up.
Okay, well let me define it for you, right? Extraordinary evidence is just evidence to a higher degree, right? It's just having multitude of evidence. That's all it is. It's not like
So-
there's something that is extraordinary, right?
So it's just
That's what it
more evidence. It's still just
Exactly.
evidence. It's not extraordinary
that's-
evidence. It's just more evidence.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm defining it as. So we agree.
Okay,
right?
so then the death and resurrection, we have more evidence. We have more historical evidence for the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ than almost anything from this time period.
Okay, and that's where more than anything in the time period, I would have to push back against.
Okay. Can
right, because-
you give me any other period within 1,000 years of Jesus where we have the exact same amount of evidence for, or any other event?
That Jesus lived.
No,
is
no,
more,
ju-
has
no.
more
The death
evidence.
and resurrection. Give me any other event we have more evidence for in 1,000 years of Jesus's life.
Yeah, I would say that Jesus lived.
That's included in the death and resurrection. For him to die and resurrect, he has to be alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you give me any other thing within 1,000 years of Jesus's life that we have more evidence for?
But you can't say that it's the same thing because I could say there's plenty of evidence that Jesus lived, right? And that's enough for me to believe that he lived, right? But there's not.
That's
more
not my
evidence-
argument. Great, you believe that Jesus lived.
Okay.
Jesus, the death and resurrection. Is there any other event outside of Jesus that we have more evidence for?
The leaders of Jesus of the Roman Empire at the time.
Who?
I don't know, but I know there's got to be evidence of that.
I'm not saying there isn't evidence. I'm asking for more. You said for something that can be considered extraordinary evidence, we have to have more of it, right? The documentation of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ in this time period is one of the most documented events in history at this time. Again, in this time period, when we start getting later times, we have more documentation because of the printing press. In 1,000 years span, there's no other event that has more.
But do you see how I can give the example? And I know you're going to include it as one, as like the life and the death and resurrection of Jesus, right? So if I can claim that there's not evidence of the resurrection of Jesus, but I can claim that there's more evidence of the life of Jesus, right, during that same time period. That's why I believe the life of Jesus existed.
Right. We would need to know that Jesus is alive for him to die and resurrect. Yes, that's included within that data.
That doesn't mean anything to my argument, though. Right?
You're not presenting an argument. I'm saying specifically I'm not talking about just the life of Jesus. I know there's more evidence that Jesus lived than he died and resurrected.
And that's one singular event, though.
That's the same event. You have to be alive before you die. It's included in the same thing.
No, the reason why it's not included is because you're asking me, right? Give me an event that has more evidence than the death and resurrection of Jesus, right? I can give you that Jesus lived and sermoned during that same time period, and there's evidence of that event right there, right? And I don't know any other events during that time period, so I can't give you a claim of that, right? So, okay, I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying here.
I understand what you're saying. It's silly. So your argument against my argument is that, okay, there's no other event in this time period where we have more evidence than the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, except for the life of Jesus Christ. And that's what you're going to use to debunk me?
I'm not saying except, but you asked me to give you one example of
the life of so you're saying there's more evidence that Jesus Christ lived than he died and resurrected.
Exactly. And that's
going to debunk me how?
No, you asked the question. What do you mean? You asked me the question and I gave you an example.
Right. So you gave the definition that extraordinary evidence is having more than every other event outside of Jesus. There is less than. So by definition, we have extraordinary evidence for Jesus Christ. And you're trying to say we don't because we have more evidence that he lived.
Well, that's illogical because you can't say that I have less than.
You're separating the life of Jesus from the death of Jesus.
Because those are two events that people argue on, right?
We're talking about Jesus's life in its totality. I can't argue that Jesus Christ died and resurrected if he never lived, right?
Yeah, you cannot argue that, no.
Like if I had all this evidence that he died and resurrected, but no evidence that he was alive, that'd be a very confusing thing to wrestle with. Hey, this guy died and resurrected. When did he live? Oh, he's never alive.
Yeah, if you have no evidence that he lived, it'd be hard to argue that he died and resurrected. Yes.
Right. So when you're arguing that there's more evidence that he lived, and those are separate events, that's included in my data for his death and resurrection, is that I have to prove he was first alive.
I think you would only be able to make that claim if I was giving the example of the event that he died and resurrected, and you were giving that he lived, right? So I can prove that he lived, and you're trying to prove that he died and resurrected.
For me to prove that he died and resurrected, first must I prove that he lived?
Yes.
So that's included in my data.
Okay, but I'm telling you, right, there's more evidence of one thing. And yes,
I agree. There's more evidence that Jesus Christ lived than actual his death and resurrection. But even with that being said, we don't separate the two. I have a stronger case that he was alive, which makes when I go to my next hypothesis that he died even stronger because I could prove that he was alive. So that for someone to die, they have to be alive. So I have a lot of evidence that proves he's alive. Then I get to the death. I can say, yep, he was alive. So that's gonna increase the probability that he died. And then I have all this evidence of his death and resurrection that is bigger and more grandiose than other events at this time period, just in the death and resurrection.
Okay.
So what are you arguing for?
Again, you asked me this question. So, and what we're proving is, like, I know you like to use analytical if X and Y, right? And you asked me, what is more evidence than Y? And I give you X. Yes, if X, then Y. If not X, then
it's not a separate event. For Jesus to die, I must first prove he's alive. That's included in my argument. You're just separating the two for some reason.
Because, okay, do you agree that Jesus could have lived and not died and resurrected?
Yes, he could have lived and not died and resurrected.
Okay, that's why they're separate.
No.
because he could have lived and not died and resurrected.
Yes, he could have lived and died and resurrected, which
So
means
they
that if
are
we
two
had
separate
no
persons.
data towards his death and resurrection, that'd be silly. But when I get to the point of the death and resurrection,
Yeah.
I have to prove that. For me to prove that, I also first must prove he's alive.
Yes, I agree with that. But just because Y needs X doesn't mean that X needs Y. So I can prove X is true without Y being true. Okay, I feel like we're getting
My goodness gracious. So then how the hell do you proving that there's more evidence for his life disprove for me that he died and resurrected?
I didn't say that. You asked
Then why
me,
are you
would
bringing it up?
something- No, you asked me. You asked me why. Okay, give me an example, an event that has more evidence than death and resurrection. I gave you that. And you're saying, well, that has to happen for Y to happen. I'm like, yes, but you told me to give you an event that proves that. Humans also existed during that time period. There's evidence that people lived in Jerusalem, right? That's one event. There you go. Of more evidence in the death and resurrection. Does that help your example? That people existed in China during that time. That's an example of evidence of an event. I can't give you every single event. I feel like you're getting stuck on that. But again, this is your question. Like, this is your line of questioning. So I can't, like, what are you asking me for my premise?
Do I
If
have
this is your line-
extraordinary evidence for Jesus' death and resurrection? Yes or no?
What's the question?
Do I have extraordinary evidence for the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ? Yes or no?
I believe those 5 accounts, 4 or 5 accounts.
Yes or no?
No, because
Great. Have
first
a
of all,
great day.
Should read some chats.
God bless you, John. Thank you. Thanks for the donation. Thank you. I don't know what a PLN is, but thank you very much for your pain. Appreciate you. John's ball. No, I got a crooked haircut and everybody keeps commenting on it. So I put a hat on because I was starting to feel self-conscious. I just feel bad at this point. Hope $2 helps. It helps. John, hello. How are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Another John.
He's a Jahan though.
Oh, Jahan.
Yeah.
Hello.
John? Jahan. All right, let's do a TikTok. You got to turn your camera off, please.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, man. How old are you?
I'm 29.
All right, can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
I think so. I will start my claim off by saying that my intent is not to disprove that you believe in him, but that even if he does exist, he is not worthy of your worship or your time.
You're going to lose that fight.
Yeah, so I believe I am a registered nurse. I work in the ICUs across like level 1 trauma centers and stuff. Specifically, I work right now with children, and I believe that their suffering and the amount of suffering that I have seen and read about in history makes God's existence.
Wait, hold on. You stated your start of your conversation says the argument is not to convince you of his existence. The argument is to convince you he's not worthy of worship. Which one is it?
Right. The amount of suffering would mean that worshiping him is not worth it.
Okay, so it's not his existence. It's that you shouldn't follow him because of suffering.
Right. I believe that if there is a God, he is evil or is indifferent to us and is not worthy of worship.
Okay. Congrats.
Okay, and I believe that you shouldn't either.
Okay, but I'm going to. Why shouldn't I?
Okay, so that's because the amount of suffering that he inflicts on people is not worthy of worship.
According to who?
I would say according to any person with morals or people who believe that others should not have to suffer meaninglessly.
Okay, let's say hypothetically, I'm a psychopath, which means I don't have empathy. I don't actually feel emotion. I don't have these moral standards just intrinsically built into me. Why should I do it? Why should I stop worshiping him?
Well, if you're a psychopath, then you probably don't care about anyone but yourself, and worshiping anything at all would be pointless. But
Well,
You specifically, as
hold on.
someone,
Yeah. So I'm a psychopath. I don't want to go to hell. I want to go to heaven. I know if I worship this God because he exists, that's the eternal critique. I'll get to go to heaven, experience eternal bliss. I don't see why I wouldn't do it.
Yep, because your chances would probably be slim to zero anyway. God never, or in the Bible, it never says specifically the statistics on how many people go into hell versus heaven. It does say that more people go to hell, however. And I believe that most people are good intrinsically and that they don't deserve eternities of damnation.
But you're not answering my question. My question is,
What's your
right? So God says, hey, worship me and you'll get to heaven, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
going to improve my odds of getting to heaven. He might be lying, but it's going to improve my odds. So why not do it?
Because even then, there are stories from I haven't been to church in a long time, so you might have to correct me on this. But I recall one of people who lived well, did good deeds, and then were denied access into heaven due to them. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they go to
even-
hell and they suffer more. Why would I want to go to hell and suffer more? Because other people went
No,
to
I'm
hell
saying
and
that
suffered.
there's no point in worshiping someone for a slim to zero chance of going to heaven when you may not ever get there.
But my odds are
and this God
improved.
does not care. Improved from 0 to 1% is arguably insignificant.
Well, it's still not zero. So again, why wouldn't I do it?
Because it would not be worth the time away from living your life.
I live my life perfectly fine. I'm happy with my life, worshiping and following this God. I have actually find more fulfillment in doing it. So again, why shouldn't I do it?
Are you a good person? Would you describe yourself as a good person who wants good for others?
Off of what standard? Whose standard of good?
Yours.
My standard of good? No.
Your standard of good. You would not consider yourself a good person?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't fit my standard.
Okay, so I would define myself as a good person.
Okay,
I would
that's
say that
your own standard. But again, why shouldn't I worship this God?
Because he is evil. He is
According
not a
to
God.
you say he's evil. Congratulations. I say he's not.
No, I'm saying he is all powerful, all knowing, and allows suffering and does nothing to impact it. That is the
Cool.
definition that it could be described as evil.
According to who?
According to anyone. If the ability to
watch
stop
watch this. I don't think it's evil. Now what? How do you convince me it's evil?
Okay. If there was a person standing in traffic or a baby laying down in traffic, there's an 18-wheeler coming. They're not going to get there for 2 minutes. If you act and do nothing, the driver of that car will not stop to hit the baby, or the baby will die. Or you have the ability to go and pick the baby up, remove it from harm, and that would be considered a morally good act.
According to who?
Would you do it?
Let's say no. And I think that's
According
perfectly fine.
to any human being.
I'm a human being, right? In this analogy, I'm a psychopath. It's not what I actually believe, but I'm showing you, I'm giving you a reductio, right? I'm a psychopath. I see this happening.
I'm not
indifferent
arguing
towards.
for psychopaths. I'm
Do
arguing
psychopaths
for
exist?
regular
Do
standard person.
psychopaths exist?
And they make up a very small percentage of the
They
population.
still
I'm saying
exist.
to the
They still
average
exist.
person,
They still
it would
exist.
not be worth it.
They still exist, right? So
Okay,
I'm
and
a psycho.
to-
Hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish. I'm a psychopath. I see this 18-wheeler heading towards this baby. I go, and it squishes it. And I don't think any evil thing happened. How are you to convince me that I'm wrong?
That you knowingly did not help someone who you could have without detracting from your own life.
Yeah. Well, how do you convince me I did something wrong?
I don't feel like I need to convince you specifically that saving a baby is not morally wrong.
So how do you convince
I
me
feel
that
like
I'm
that's
wrong
not the
in this
argument.
scenario? Because you're trying to say that God
I'm
is
telling
evil
you-
for doing this. How do you convince me that these things are evil? How do you know God is evil? Where do you get the standard from?
I'm saying that the majority of people, if you were to poll, would say that it
Okay.
would be morally
Okay, so
wrong
ad
to not
populum
save the baby.
fallacy. So we're just saying what the majority of people say is what's right.
I feel I'm really struggling to see how you don't see that saving a baby in any scenario would not be morally the correct thing to do.
Yeah, watch this. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm pro-choice.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, so can you give an argument outside of ad populum?
I feel like I'm not seeing like my job is dedicated to saving people. I feel
except
I
babies in
can
the
do
womb.
lots of
Anyways,
different
can you
things.
give me an argument outside of ad populum?
Oh, hold on. That's not a totally fair because you haven't asked me the specifics of what I believe is pro-choice. I take care of babies who have a 0% chance of life, who their entire existence in life is torture and suffering, and oftentimes there is no family.
You kill babies. I get it. Anyway, so can you give an
I don't
argument?
kill babies. I
Can you give
actually
an
try
Can you
to
give an
help
argument?
them.
Can you give an argument why I'm wrong in this scenario?
If you don't see how saving a baby from traffic would be in any other example morally
Okay, so
the
I'm
right thing to
right.
do,
So
then I
your
don't
so
feel
your
like I can argue
argument.
that.
So then your argument is I'm right because I'm right.
No, my argument is I'm right because anyone, I guess except for a psychopath,
That's an
which
ad
makes up
populum
less than
fallacy.
1% of the situation.
Great. Okay, so did you know, like up until the 1800s, not a single we don't have a single recorded record of people being against slavery? So are you going to say that all those people were in the right? Because that's what most people would say. Slavery is a perfectly normal and fine thing up into the 1800s. Every document that we have of slavery.
I'm sure if you were to ask the slaves and listen to the songs that they wrote,
That's
about
you're
not
assuming.
wanting to
You're
be
making
slaves.
an assumption. We have
No,
zero
that's what they
documentation.
did.
Show me a document.
Well,
show me a document
that
pre 18.
documentation-
Show me a document pre 1800 that's against slavery.
It would probably need to be written by a slave who would have not been given the permission
So
to read or
you're
write.
assuming. You're making an assumption. You're assuming that
I'm
there are
telling
people
you
that said
that
it was wrong.
nobody would want to be a slave. I feel like that is
What are you
such
talking
an
about?
insane
What are you
argument.
talking about? There's people with slave kinks all over the place. What are you talking about?
I'm saying
There's indentured
that-
servitude that exists.
Because
Like, come
there
on.
may be one person who believes that this
Okay,
is an
so
insane
your
argument.
whole argument is just because my feels. That's your argument, bro.
No, I'm saying that if there was a God who was all-knowing and all-powerful, who claimed to love us, that letting us suffer without any intervention would be a God that is evil and corrupt.
Based off what?
He claims to love us.
What is
If he
love?
lets
Baby,
us
don't hurt me.
suffer-
Don't hurt me. No more.
What is love?
Yeah. Don't tell me what
I
it's
guess that
not.
would
Tell
be-
me what it is.
To care for someone and want the best for them.
Oh,
Despite
to care for someone and want the best for them. How do you know God
Yes.
doesn't do that?
because he lets them suffer and he lets babies die.
Wait, hold on. You know all things? How do you know
do
in the
know that
totality
people-
of the existence
because
of that
one
thing's
baby
life?
has
Let me
suffered,
finish.
and
Let me
if
finish.
one
Let me
baby
finish.
has suffered.
Let me finish. Let me finish. How do you know that the totality of that thing's life, including that suffering, isn't for the betterment of it?
Because there is no betterment of the world for a baby.
That's an
needlessly
assumption
suffering.
that you're assuming. How
That
do you
is
know?
not an assumption. That is a fact.
It is
There
literally an
no
assumption. Make the
positive
argument.
outcome.
How do you know?
Because what good could possibly come from a baby being
I'm not
tortured to
making the
death?
claim to know. You are. So how do you know?
I'm saying that I, as a person on this being, would not want it done to me, which is, I guess, God's number one rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But he does not follow that rule.
Yeah, God is not a human. Just like you know how fish can eat other fish? That's not a problem, but if a human eats another human, that's a problem?
Because fish have to eat other fish. Humans don't have to kill other people to live.
So, okay, if you and I are stuck in a room and I get really, really hungry and the only way I can live is to eat you, that's perfectly fine?
I would say that people have done it before.
That's not the
and
question
in
I
the
asked you.
interest of
Not the
survival.
question I asked you.
Yeah, if it was down to life or death, and one of us was going, or both of us were going to die, and you could stop that by one of us living, then that is different from letting a baby suffer.
You still didn't answer the question. Is it morally good for me to eat you?
Is it more? I mean, it depends on the situation.
My goodness gracious.
So you're saying that
listen,
baby
ain't
is
no
not-
way. No,
it
no,
is
bro. I'm
morally
moving. I'm
great
moving
to
on.
let a
I'm
baby
moving on.
sit in
I'm moving on. That is wild. This person literally comes up and says God is evil because he allows babies to suffer and die. Well, he goes out and kills babies, and then says God is evil, but hey, there are certain justifiable ways that you could eat another human being. That's literally the we just had. Yep, there are certain scenarios where it's perfectly fine and perfectly okay to eat another human, but God, the bad guy. I love you, baby. You going to work? Okay. God's bad because he allows the death of babies as they go and suck another one out of a tube. Get out of here. Hello, Tom. How old are you?
I'm 22, and I'd really like to say you should let your guests talk, number one. You should stop.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you over not letting you talk. CC, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
CC, hello. Hey, sorry, 1 second. I am 32.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
I have a question. I guess I've been kind of spamming the chat and I don't want to do that, but just want to see. So if you could go back in time and stop Jesus from getting crucified,
no,
for something, innocent, and it meant your own eternal salvation was on the line, what would you do?
I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it because of your own eternal salvation, or is it because you think it's like God's plan?
It's God's will that he should go onto the cross. He said straight to Peter, as Peter tried to stop the crucifixion, he said, "Get behind me, Satan. I'm not going to disobey Jesus."
Yeah, but Jesus didn't want to. Like he said multiple times, like, can you pass this cup from me? Like, I really don't want to die for this.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the dentist
like
next month.
Yeah, it's like a coercion at that point.
That's silly. I don't want to go to the dentist next month, but I'm still going to do it.
I mean, that's not really the same. What I'm saying
Can you get me how it's disanalogous?
No, I'm saying that Jesus was. Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, even coercion is like kind of like a strong word, but it wasn't voluntary.
Really? Jesus straight up said, "No one lays down my life. It is I that lays it down, and it's I that will pick it up again."
Right, but before that, if you read in the garden multiple times, he says, like, "Please, God, pass this cup from me.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want this."
Yet not my will be done, but yours.
Yeah, I'm saying, but he didn't want it, right? So it's not.
Yeah, I don't want to go to the dentist, but for my greater good, I go to a dentist.
So what I'm saying though is that if it's God's plan for his only son to die, your reason is not selfishly to save your own eternal salvation and this eternal salvation of the world.
Going against God is not going to give me a salvation. I don't know how you make that
right.
argument.
Okay. So you're saying that God's plan is that one innocent man dies to save the whole world.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what the high priest of Israel said that got Jesus killed. Caiaphas, he said, better for one man to die than the whole nation to burn. So
yeah, Caiaphas was giving prophecy. That's literally when you read the verse, like you're taking it out of context. Caiaphas was given a prophecy from who?
I'm not taking it out of context.
You literally took it out of you took it out of his context. He said that he was given prophecy from who? Who was giving him the prophecy?
It's not. You can't just say, "Oh, it's out of context," because in the
who
Bible
gave him the prophecy?
The whole world.
Oh my God! I can't. You guys, you can't. Are you guys real human beings that I'm talking to? Or are you guys AI and robots? Who gave him the prophecy?
I'm asking you this: does God's plan?
What's 2 + 2?
With Caiaphas's.
What's 2 + 2?
To say one innocent. So before Jesus died, what was the law?
Let's try this again. When Caiaphas made that statement, it was a prophetic statement. Who gave him the prophecy?
So Caiaphas' prophetic statement about one man dying to save the whole world is what you agree with. You agree with the high priest of
him
Israel.
The prophecy.
Go ahead and say
What do you mean
what
go
I'm
ahead?
Telling you,
oh my
what
God.
I'm telling you is that you agree with the sentiment of the guy who got Jesus killed. Even the Romans didn't think he had a reason to die. And you're sitting here saying that you believe in this innocent man as your savior, yet you would let him die so that you could be saved.
Let's try this again. All right, who gave him the prophecy?
Look,
Not
You
look.
just
Answer the
agree
question. I'm going to
with
move on. Who gave him the
Caiaphas.
prophecy? Who
You
gave him
agree
the
with it.
prophecy?
You agree with the guy who had him
Last
killed.
chance. Who gave him the prophecy?
You can go ahead.
These people, man. Oh my God. Okay, so it's a simple answer to the question, right? Caiaphas, when making that statement, was given prophecy from God. So he gives prophecy that the death of this man will reunite all the nations and bring them all back together. Guess what happens? Jesus Christ dies on the cross and all the nations start coming back together. This is what we see in Acts. It's almost like that was God's knowledge. And Caiaphas misunderstood what it meant. Caiaphas had a misunderstanding. And this is not uncommon because this also happened with Balaam. When Balaam was given prophecy given to Balak, that doesn't mean that Balaam was a great guy and God was patting him on the back. Of course I rage quit. Are you kidding me? Can't answer a single question and then just goes on a tangent. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 19.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
No,
Okay.
I'm a Christian, but I have a question.
All right, that might be it for today, guys. That might be it for today. I have no idea if we reached our dono goal, by the way, because Abby's gone and she's not updating it. So let's assume we didn't. And if you want to see this live, keep going. Guess the host praying for brain cells when I answered. You know what's crazy? Everybody in the chat talking shit, but nobody actually presenting an argument. An actual, real argument. Mm-hmm. Has anyone got one? Because I don't let people talk. I absolutely let people talk. I asked that guy a question 5 times. I let him rant on about had nothing to do with the question a whole bunch of times. Then I had to cut him off and bring him back to the question, which again, he refused to answer. Last dono for the month.
So chat better step up after this.
You heard him, chat. You heard him. We all can't rely on the sacrifice of Funky. This is for the, what's that word? Psychic damage you're enduring? Take my money. I got you, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
Take my money. Lol.
Been waiting for an hour now. I'm in the right place. You're not in the queue. There's no one else in the queue. What are you talking about? Did we have this person up before? I feel like we did. Psychic damage. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Do I believe Jesus is fully God in all his might or not? It's a question doesn't make any sense. What does that mean to be fully God in all your might? Boot camp? All right, folks, is that it? We calling it a day? I mean, we started later today, so we could go longer. Anyone on the line would destroy John, and not you though, because you could call up. So you just admitted that you're dumber than me and also dumber than them, but you just agree with them. So also the line, that's the people you're going to pick. Like I could pick better atheists than people on the line. Well, not always. Sometimes they get good people. We want 2 more hours. We're not doing 2 more hours. Jason, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 18.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
First off, do you believe? Yes, I can, and I'll try to.
Okay.
First of all, do you believe that Jesus is God?
Yes.
But you didn't say that earlier.
What?
Earlier, you said that you didn't believe Jesus is God. You said you believe
I
there were
never
two
said
different
that.
people. You
Two
did.
different persons is not 2 different gods.
So you believe that God is Jesus in the form of man?
I believe what?
You believe God is Jesus in the form of man.
I think that question doesn't make sense. The person of Jesus subsists in two natures. One nature is a nature of God. The other nature is the nature of human.
So you believe Jesus is God in human form.
The person of Jesus subsists in two natures. One nature
You're
being
not
God.
answering my question.
I am answering your question. You're asking a non sequitur question because you're implying that God is personhood. God is not a personhood, it's a nature. So a nature cannot exist in another nature. That's a contradiction.
But God is Jesus in human form.
God is Jesus. And again, the question doesn't make any sense.
And Jesus is God.
So we would say that Jesus isn't God insofar as he possesses the divine nature.
Jesus is God. It's in the Bible.
Insofar as he possesses the divine nature.
Okay, let's answer this real quick. So according to the Bible, how old is the Bible? Like 6,000 years old?
Let's try this. What's the argument?
Is the Bible 6,000 years old?
That's not an argument. That's a question.
I'm asking you a question exactly. Is the Bible 6,000 years old?
Give me the relevance to the argument and I'll answer the question.
The relevance to the argument is that it's scientifically proven that Earth is older than 2,000 years old. And there's the 7-day curation in the Bible of the world.
Okay. How does that prove or disprove the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ?
Because if the Bible is 6,000 years old, then it's not correct.
The Bible is 6,000 years old, or are you saying that the Bible says the earth is 6,000 years old?
The Bible says the earth is 6,000 years old, and according to the
okay,
Bible,
cool. Show me the verse. Show me the verse.
Which the Bible is 6,000 years old.
Show me the verse.
The Bible doesn't say the earth is 6,000 years old, but
Okay.
Earth is obviously been around for a lot longer than 6,000 years.
I agree.
And the Bible is 6,000 years old.
Crazy. It's like I agree with that statement, but I'm still out here worshiping Jesus. So, what's your conclusion?
Exactly. You're still here worshiping Jesus when, in fact, it is not correct. Earth is older than 6,000 years old. The Bible is 6,000 years old.
What?
The Bible is 6,000
How
years
does
old.
how does the age of the Bible correlate with the age of the earth? And it's not 6,000 years old. It's 1,500 years old. No. Wait. We'd say 6,000. No. 2,000 and 1,500 took 1,500 years. So about 3,000 to 4,000 years old.
Okay, 3,000 to 4,000. All right. So the Bible was written that long ago, right?
No, parts of the Bible were written that long ago. So the book of Revelation wasn't written in the same time of Genesis.
Okay, so my point is, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm waiting for your point.
My point is,
you left. Emo. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 22 years old.
All right, man. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
So I have a question for you.
Oh my God.
Do you think Jesus is God?
Yes.
Does Jesus know the hour?
Yes.
He says that only the Father knows the hour.
Yeah, and then there's other verses that says he knows all things, and there are other verses that says he knows all things that will happen to him, including the hour. So if we have to read these verses in its context and we're going to assume them to be true, then it's most likely he's using idiomatic language.
Okay, but where does Jesus?
Tell me what idiom means before you make the argument.
God? But where
Tell me what idiom means.
What?
You're making an argument. I said I'm making a rebuttal to that argument, is that he's using idiomatic language. Now you're continuing the argument as if you understood what I said, but I don't think you did. What does an idiom mean?
An idiom. Okay, look. How can we believe in...
He doesn't know what idiom means, but you're going to continue your argument as if you knew what it means, right? Do you think that's honest?
Okay, what is God? What is God?
Do you think that's honest? Do you think I should continue a conversation with you when you have zero clue in my response, but you're going to continue to argue anyways? You're not asking for clarifiers. You're not trying to look at any aspect of what I was saying. You're not even listening to what I'm saying. You just want to continue your argument. Do you think that's engaging in good faith?
I don't think your intention is good.
What's 2 plus 2? All right, I'll give you a simpler one. What's 1 plus 1?
Is 3 equal 1?
Notice, ladies and gentlemen, you can't answer a single question, not one. This is what Muslims do. They don't know how to engage in good faith. They do not know how to engage in conversation. They just know how to yap at you and speak towards you and assume that they're right. Let's try one more time. Let's see if you want to engage in good faith. You ready? What's 1 plus 1?
2. So what?
Okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. Great. So you can't answer a question. Now let's try it again. If I give a statement where you don't know what the word idiom means, but then you continue arguing as if you did understand it, do you think that's arguing in good faith?
Tell me what idiom means then.
But see, there's a question I asked you. Do you think it's arguing in good faith?
I think the intention matters.
And goodbye. Waluigi. Waluigi. Shouldn't be shaking, but it keeps shaking on me. Why? Gotta lose some weight. All right, folks, we'll give it a couple more minutes, see if we can get at least one good conversation today. The entire life is insufferable. Amen. Amen. No argument here. No argument here. Why do I worship a God that allows for child slavery? Because I don't want to go to hell. Why am I wrong? Why am I wrong? I'm still thinking of doing politics soon. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, but I don't know how I'd do it because I'm Canadian. I'd want to engage in Canadian politics, but there's no stage for Canadian politics. So I'd have to not engage in politics, but engage in like social aspects instead. Social debate, rather. Things like abortion, marriage, genders, things like that. Do I speak Hindi? No. Canadian politics, oh bother, yeah. Hey, let's go. Somebody who gets it. I wouldn't say God is to blame for human slavery. Instead, the blame is fully on man himself for his own fleshly desires. Somebody gets it. Based. That nose is crooked? Sure is. I wonder why. If there was a piece of evidence that would prove or show or give a reason why someone would have a crooked nose. Pass me street tacos. You're rage baiting? And not trying. Literally, I'm not trying to rage bait. It goes with the haircut. True. That's all I'm going to think about right now is how crooked that haircut is. Oh my God. It's just that, man. Like, that's crazy. Do I have testimony about the crooked nose? Oh, listen, you can't actually prove how I got a crooked nose because you'd have to rely on testimony. Yeah, it is really bad. money back bad. Yeah. The fact that I have to go in again and taking more time off work, because I had to take time off work to do it today, which means I got to go in tomorrow to do the same thing and get it fixed, is rather annoying. But I also didn't notice it when I was there too. So I just assumed. I also find getting haircuts extremely awkward. Like, I just want out of that chair so bad that, like, as soon as they're done, I'm like, yep, it's good, I'm out. Yeah. No, yeah, well, I might be alive tomorrow, but I'll have to leave early to go get the haircut fixed. Mm-hmm. And now when I do my video tonight, I'm going to have to wear a hat. Cut my own hair? I can't do a fade, bro. I can't do a fade. All right, we're not getting any guests, so I might as well just call it a day. Do the live while getting a haircut. If God is the creator, then who created God? You just answered your own question. Would I cut my own hair? No. No. All right, let's see. Let's see if we got one more for the day. Jackson. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 19. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you convince me to stop worshiping Jesus?
I'll try my best.
Okay.
So my argument is that, like, basically the Bible that we have today, right? Like, it's been proven that it comes from thousands of manuscripts that were copied by hand, like, over centuries. Like, they've, like, identified, like, variation between copies and minor copies, some minor copies, but some affecting, like, the meaning. And basically what I'm arguing is that
so
the text were,
can I want you to justify something there. You said there are changes that change the meaning. Can you show me an example of something that changes the meaning that would change, like, the life of a Christian and how they would operate? Because for example, Bart Ehrman gives an example where they changed the text slightly to make it seem less likely that Jesus was a thief, because the grammar originally, when it says that he went up against the thieves on the cross, somebody could read it and then impart that Jesus himself was a thief. So they moved around the grammar to make sure that he didn't have that viewpoint. So you're saying there are some like major theological changes. I'm curious what they are.
well, what I'm saying is that, well, according, like, to that, if the Bible is a perfectly preserved or, like, divinely protected, you wouldn't expect that level of variation, and nobody should be changing.
Yeah, I don't
the
make
Bible.
that claim.
And I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's been changed over thousands of years, like, not just meaning, but the whole entire manuscript itself, the whole entire Bible.
Okay, can you give me your evidence that the entire thing was changed?
I mean, look it up. It's talked about all throughout. It's been talked about all throughout history.
So look your arguments. Look it up.
I'm here to tell you.
Do you have any data that supports your claim, or is it just look it up, bro?
Just look it up, man.
I have, and I didn't find any of that data. So
okay. Here. Okay, just going off of this. I have some stuff written down. Okay. We estimate that there's 400,000 textual variants of the Bible all across the New Testament, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it comes
there
from
are more textual variants than there are words in the New Testament. I know the Bart Ehrman quote.
Yeah, and it comes from comparing, like, around, like, 5,000 Greek manuscripts plus thousands in other languages.
Mm-hmm.
And more copies obviously can equal more detectable, like, differences. And the variants are set around, like, they're 99% are minor spelling differences, order changes, or copy mistakes. They don't really change the meaning, but there are meaningful variants.
Yes, and the meaningful variants would be, for example, Jesus not appearing to be like a thief on the cross. Can you give me an example of a variant that would change the theology of Christians? Because what you're doing is you're misquoting Jesus, which I've read, right? And in misquoting Jesus itself, it also states that there are no changes that would change the theological framework of Christianity.
Can I give you a verse that was changed around to change the meaning?
Yes, that's what I've been asking. I've been asking for a verse that changes the theological implications of Christianity.
Okay. Here, let me think. Okay. John chapter 7 verses. Okay. Here, John chapter 7, verse 53 through chapter 8, verse 11. It's like the story of the woman.
It's the woman, yeah. That doesn't change any
It was
aspect of
caught in
Christianity.
adultery. Okay. It says, let him who was without sin cast the first stone. Okay, that's included in most modern Bibles, but in early manuscripts, it doesn't contain it at all.
Okay, great. We take it out, now what?
It's changed.
Yeah, we take it out. What changes in Christianity?
What do you mean what changes in Christianity? It's not, it didn't happen.
Okay, that story didn't happen. We take it out. What changes?
What changes is that the Bible's been flipped around and you're sitting here believing something that's been changed over thousands of years that's never been there to begin with. You're believing stories. You say you're a Christian, but you're believing false stories.
You're trying to make the argument, right, that the whole thing is corrupted and changed. You're using one example, which is the woman caught in adultery.
It is corrupted.
You're making the argument that the entire thing is corrupted and changed. You're using an example of the woman caught in adultery. Now, that same thing, because again, you're misquoting Jesus. Bart Ehrman also goes on record. Just because it's not in the manuscripts that we have that are earlier than those ones we have now, doesn't mean it wasn't. Because it could have very well been that it was in the earliest manuscripts, somebody took it out, and then later somebody put it back in, which is something that we do see. So like if you're going to quote Bart Ehrman, you're going to use him to a T, use his entirety of the quotes. Now, it's not in our oldest manuscripts, but it aligns with Christian tradition. It aligns with Christian values, aligns with the ideals of Jesus. And we see the church fathers quoting it as if it was already part of the tradition. Now, we could simply just impart, no, it wasn't originally in the manuscripts, but being part of the Jesus tradition, they saw it fit to be put back into the manuscripts. And that would make it untrustworthy or corrupted.
But it's not. And teaching like that is heresy.
I gave a whole argument. He just said,
one of the biggest sin.
I gave a whole argument. He just said, nuh-uh.
Because at the end of the day, it's heresy.
Heresy
It
according
doesn't
to who?
really matter.
According to who?
Heresy according to what I just told you. How are you putting false stories, things that never happened, things that were never in the Bible, inside the Bible?
Define heresy.
Explain that.
Define heresy.
Define heresy.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you would say like it's a teaching that goes against like the accepted doctrine of religion in a group.
Okay, so show me in any aspect of Christianity where that idea of the Jesus legend being put back in the gospel where it should have been is heresy. Go ahead.
Because it's not true.
How do you know it's not true?
Because it was never in the original Bible to be. It was never. It's been.
How do you know
it's not true?
How do you know it's not true?
It was added to the Bible.
How do you know?
What do you mean? How do I know?
You're making all these claims. I gave you an explanation, a possibility, right? Which does happen. Quoting the person that you're trying to quote against me, and your whole response was nuh-uh. How do you know that story was invented and added in there?
Tell me why the stories were invented and added in there.
What the hell is that noise? It's driving me nuts.
Like I told you, John chapter 7, verse 53, chapter 8 through 11.
You can't, these can't be real people, man. Okay. Let's just see if you're listening. What was my response to that?
But that was a later tradition.
No. That's not the question I asked you. What was my response to that?
Listen to me. Though it may still preserve an early oral story about Jesus,
you weren't listening.
It's not true. It doesn't matter if it's a
you weren't listening. What was my response? Is it possible that it was in the earliest manuscripts, somebody took it out, and then somebody put it back in?
But it wasn't.
That's not the question I asked you. Is it possible?
Okay, how would that person know?
Holy shit. Is it
Explain that to me.
possible?
No, it's not.
It's not possible. It's physically impossible. Okay, give me the proposition and negation to show me it's impossible.
Because there's evidence that it was just added in there.
Give me the proposition and negation that shows that it's a physical impossibility.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. So if that's possible, when you make the accusation that they just invented it up, vented it, and threw it in there, how do you know?
How do I know that it was made up?
How do you know they invented the story and just threw it in the scripture? Yeah.
I mean, it's just completely missing.
So
it literally jumped out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Begging the question. We already agreed. It's possible that it was in the earliest manuscripts, which we don't have. Somebody took it out and somebody put it back in.
It's not in the earliest manuscripts that we have.
That we don't have. Pay attention. If you got a pen and paper, we're gonna walk through this. We're gonna walk through this together. If it's possible that it's in the earliest manuscripts, and then somebody took it out, which again, Bart Ehrman notes that this happens. People take it out and put it back in. That's what he says. They took it out, and then for a while it runs without it, and somebody's like, nah, that should actually be back in there. And then they put it back in. Let me finish.
If we don't
let me finish. And then we put it back in. How do you know that the story was completely made up and then thrown in the scripture?
How? Okay, so listen to me.
I'm listening.
If that verse isn't in any manuscript that we have, even the oldest manuscripts that we have, so where is it coming from?
That's a question. How do you know it was made up and thrown in the scripture?
Because it is not in any of the oldest manuscripts that we have right now.
Okay, so you have a problem. So here's the problem with your conclusion. It's not in the oldest manuscripts that we have. Therefore, it's made up. Means that if we find a manuscript that's really old, the oldest possible manuscript, like let's say a manuscript within 1 year of Jesus, and it has the story in there, what are you going to do? You're going to say it's made up?
But we don't have it.
That's not the question I asked you. If we found an older manuscript and the story was in there, what would you do? Would you say it's made up?
I wouldn't say it was made up.
Great. So then how do you know this one is made up?
Because we don't have the manuscript. You can, I don't
know how you're not figuring this out, man. Okay.
We don't have a manuscript that has this verse in it. All the manuscripts that we have right now, listen, everything that we have right now from thousands of years ago,
oldest manuscripts
the oldest one that we have.
Yep.
The oldest ones that we have are not in there.
Yep. Again, how do you know
it's not in there?
Someone didn't take it out?
How do you know someone took it out?
I'm not saying they did. I'm not making the claim. You're making the claim. You're saying someone invented the story, therefore we can't trust any of the Bible. I'm asking you to substantiate that claim because it could very well be possible that it was in the original scripture, but they took it out. And so they put it back in.
Well, this is just going to go back and forth because there's no reason.
It's not back and forth. You need to make an argument.
I mean, no, there's just never going to be an answer because there's no evidence. You don't know? I don't know.
So, great. Awesome. So then I have no reason to conclude that it was just made up.
Then we have no reason to keep arguing because we're not going to find a resolve.
Then why are you here?
I tried to find a resolve, but the point that we've gotten to is there's no resolve. There's not going to be an answer. I mean, we're stuck. You don't know if it was added into the Bible or not from an old manuscript. I know that we don't have a manuscript with that verse in it.
We do have manuscripts with that verse in it. Our oldest manuscripts don't have that verse in it.
Yeah, exactly.
How's that in exactly?
Because that verse was added. That's what I'm telling you. But that verse is not in our oldest manuscripts. That's what I'm telling you.
That does not mean it was added. It could have been originally taken out.
Yeah, but you don't know that. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right, and you don't know if it wasn't. So let me give you one that's going to cook you. Our oldest manuscript of Isaiah, 22? Right? Says in the prophecy that his hands were pierced. That is our oldest manuscript. But all the scholars agree that just because it's the oldest manuscript doesn't mean it wasn't changed. They all think it actually means a lion. That's what the scholarly consensus is. They all say it's a lion at his hands and feet. Not pierced at his hands and feet, a lion at his hands and feet. That's what they all agree. Even though the earliest manuscript says pierced. If it says pierced, I have prophecy of Jesus Christ.
Okay, so why do we believe
which
a lion? Why do Christians believe a
one?
lion?
Which one do I hold to?
Pierced.
Pierced. Well, then you're cooked because now we have prophecy of Jesus Christ. That came true. Christianity's true.
It's not what I'm saying, that we don't have a manuscript with that verse on it. That's not the same as Isaiah.
Yes, we do. Our oldest manuscript of Isaiah 22 says pierced. That's the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Okay, Isaiah 22. I'm talking about John chapter 7.
I know what you're talking, but I'm just saying, if it says pierced, you're going to have a pretty difficult time arguing that that's not a prophecy about Jesus Christ being crucified.
Now, how old is this manuscript?
I don't know the exact date, but it's the oldest manuscript. Something like 200 years before Jesus.
It's 200 years before Jesus. Then how is his hands pierced?
I'm actually convinced that none of these people are actually real, and every one of them is just making shit up to troll me and see if I get angry. I'm fully convinced of that at this point. That there's no way that these are real human beings that are coming up with real arguments. That's not a real thing, man. That's no way. These people can't be real, man. I do not want to hear about how atheism is the arbiters of truth anymore. My goodness gracious. Thank you. Today's been rough. Nobody wants to answer a question. Here's a coin to my favorite grifter in dealing with stupidity. Happy birthday. Thank you. Appreciate you. Burt Day. Like, I'm trying to argue with these people in good faith, man, but it's so difficult. So difficult. It's like beating your head against the wall.
Toss a coin to your grifter. Big John needs to pay his bills. Big John needs to pay his bills. Oh, toss a coin.
I feel this. I'm nowhere near smart enough for so many people to be dumber than me. And I feel that to the core because I'm not a smart guy. I'm an idiot. But my goodness gracious, you all just made me feel like a genius.
He sat down to fight every drooling dunce who peak evolved apparently just the once. They came after him with their toddler takes, the kind of argument a concussion makes, while the mouth-breathing mass is smashed on their keys. He held out his hand, you owe me for these. Toss a coin.
Dodging and pivoting when I literally hyper-focused on that specific topic. I didn't move to another topic. He brought up The difference is in manuscripts. So what did I focus on? Manuscripts.
John needs to pay his bills. At the edge of his will came the knuckle-dragged horde whose combined.
Do I play Witcher? Absolutely. Not currently, but I played it. I've debated Ian several times. Wasn't even that long ago I was on his channel. I went up there like 2 months ago.
His glorious cross, every idiot he endures goes on your tab, boss. Toss a coin to your grifter. Big John needs to pay his bills. Big John needs to pay his.
Do I have a gaming channel? No, I won't have a gaming channel.
Toss a coin to your grifter. Big John needs to pay his bills. Toss a coin to your grifter. Big John needs to pay his bills. Big John.
Thank you.
Robin can't expect the lost not to act lost. Our Lord is smiling upon you, bro. We love you very much. Don't forget that red heart emoji.
Thank you. Appreciate you. I blame the hair. Bad luck. It is bad luck, man. Now that I could see it, it's all I could see. It's crazy work. I mean, it's a solid fade, but it's just so uneven. Now, granted, he seemed tired today and he was really behind. So give grace. Give grace. Give grace. Oh my God. Just going to treat a $50 donut like that? Crazy? What are you talking about? I gave you disrespect, did I not? What did I do? Am I supposed to do a backflip? Thank you for the galaxy. Your clubbing seals, John. Don't expect too much. I don't know, man. What did I do? I just can't do anything right up here. Bad haircut could really cause you to have a bad day. It's gonna cause me to have a bad couple days, man. The fact that I gotta wait all the way till 3 o'clock tomorrow to get it fixed, like I gotta walk around looking like this. All right, let's pray, and then we'll hang out on YouTube. Our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we also forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, you are good in all things. I don't know what to say, man. Walk with us, be present with us, forgive us of our sins, give us grace, and guide those that come against you into the knowledge of who you are. In Jesus' name, amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. God is good. All right, guys. If you want to ask any questions or anything like that, come over to YouTube at Big John Steele. We're going to hang out there for about 5-10 more minutes. If not, we will see you guys all on Wednesday. God bless. Have a great day. Pray for a better Wednesday. Folks, I don't know anymore. I genuinely don't know what to do about this. These conversations are wild. Are just wild, man. This live was trash for real. I agree. I'm gonna listen. We're gonna fail simply because we can't have good conversations. What's your Barbie's number? I want to make sure I stay away from. He does a great job. People make mistakes. I have bad days. Don't tell me you had a perfect day at work every single day. What did he say? I sent a super chat in regards to what you said to my last super chat in regards to my subordinate combo. You had it, but it never came up. I could check to see if it came through. I don't see any other super chats in there. All of them are highlighted. Thanks. That's the same fade Samson caught by Delilah. Can you guys leave my hair alone? I'm self-conscious. You're just making me feel bad about myself. Let's see if I can find it. Is there no stage for Canadian politics because the war is already lost? I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to find your super chat, bro. Is this it? Anyone who tells you this isn't $2,000 has obviously been deceived by Allah. Appreciate you. Okay. Church history calls the economic submission. Jesus is equal in nature, essence, but submissive to his role function. Yeah. Yeah. That's common knowledge. You're not wrong about that. I found it. Yeah, that's Philippians 2. Even though he existed in the same form, did not see it equal, so therefore he became a servant. Bad haircut can't detract from the most handsome man ever. Amen. Good luck on your interview. Good luck. Mm-hmm. A law made the haircut look bad. Oh my God. I should get a refund. Now we could just turn the lights off, I guess. I wonder if they're gonna offer a refund. Like, or if they're just gonna line it up. How long have we been hanging on YouTube? Literally like 30 seconds. My brain hurts. Dog, they argue about shit that's a mystery. That's what bothers me. You deserve a refund. Look, it's a good haircut. It's just not lined up. Like the style, I like everything about it. When it was done, I was like, dude, this looks sick. And I just didn't notice how unaligned it was. That's it. Like if I turn my head this way and you can't see the other side, it's a good haircut. If I turn my head this way, you can't see the other side, it's a good haircut. But as soon as I go like this, then you can see it. Jim Bob Raid, bad timing, guys. We're shutting it down. We're shutting it down. Shutting it down. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Jim Bob folk. Bad timing. Bad timing. John Escalada give you a better... Okay, guys, leave me alone. I have enough people coming down on me as it is. Oh, Jim Bob, like I should raid Jim Bob? Is he live? Maybe we will. Oh no, he just raided us. So yeah, so we'll have to raid someone else. Let's see. Okay. I always forget how to do this. Customize. Yeah, okay. Redirect. Who's live? Who's live that we want to raid? Definitely this guy. There we go. All right, we're set up. All right, guys, make sure that you say hello for me, support the channel, do the things you need to do, Patreon, blah, blah, blah. All links are down below. We're still planning a website. Just don't know how we're going to do that just yet. God bless, and we'll see you all next time.